Go. Okay. Tiny Bunny. We're supposed to finish this. We're supposed to finish a lot of games during Horror Month. Uh, but, you know, I started dating someone, so that threw a wrench into things. And then this week I was like, hey, I got time to do stuff. Let me stream. And then I got sick. And, uh, yeah, so next week, knock on the fake wood that my desk is, I won't be sick and I'll have time. I know. I looked at my work's like sick schedule stuff. And it's like, man, I should have like a week now. I have a day left because I keep like raining like I need to take a day off. I'm sick. But let's get back into Tiny Bunny. Last we left off, where a little kid just moved into town. Uh we used to live in the city, now we live in our old grandparents' place, I believe. Uh with our mom and our dad who are gonna get divorced. That's pretty much what's happening. Uh Oof, I'm sorry, Andy. That yeah, that luckily ours is not you have a certain number of days, but you accrue days uh as it goes on. So you're more punished for not using them than anything. Uh but so we're in this farmhouse. We have a little sister. Her little sister complains at night about an owl visiting her. Everyone else says it's not true. They're making it up. We go to school. Oh, yeah, there's also a kid that's missing in town. Went missing probably in our woods. Uh, when we went to go investigate it, uh, we found a bloody mitten. But when we got home and we were scared because we're being chased by someone from the woods, turned out it's actually local dogs, and the glove was just a normal glove. It didn't have blood all over it. Um, oh, also, the night before the kid went missing, there were animal people dancing out in the woods, and then one of them, which was a wolf, moved on over towards the camera, and it was pretty scary. But then what was really scary was when he jumped through the door and got us. But then we woke up and we're fine. Uh, we get to school. Uh, the I don't remember if it's a teacher's daughter or the principal's daughter. I think it's a teacher's daughter. Is a gossip and is a mean girl, and she hates us. There's this acne riddled kid who's also a douche, and then there's this girl that we kind of like, and then we get picked on. Uh, oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. How you doing? I'm just recapping what we experienced last time I played this. Uh, and he and his friends picked on us and started a fight. And
Hello,
everyone. They started a fight with us, and I completely skipped over. There's a fox girl. Grant, she was just wearing a mask. Um,
Attention freaks, it's me.
but yeah, she
Attention
was
freaks, it's me.
like basically telling us like, hey, we should go into the woods and stuff like that. And we were too scared and didn't. Um, but so you know, we met the fox girl. She slipped a bunny mask into her backpack, which the bullies then made us wear after spitting in it. And we thought we got Bunny's superpowers, but we didn't. Got the shit beat out of us. The sips don't mind if I do.
What's this, sir?
Drink it.
Thank you, thank you. And then don't remember what made them go away. I think they just left after beating the shit out of us, and we crawled back home with. Yeah, they snapped our glasses, I believe.
Attention freaks, it's me.
And then yeah, we got back home.
Hello, everyone.
And then that night we saw the owl, I believe.
Hello, everyone.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all that happened. I'm sure I forgot some details, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. Episode 3 on end. The wolf's gray fur will stand.
Attention freaks, it's me.
Yeah, and then the bully went missing that same night.
It's me.
He's the one who hated Babaroon. You think he did it? I've heard he's a weirdo. I hurriedly rubbed my glasses.
Hello,
Glasses.
everyone.
Simeon was clutching them in his fist while I was getting beaten up. In just a couple hours, this lost item was laying on the ledge of my window. It was hard to imagine that Sioma suddenly got guilty conscience and returned my glasses in such a strange way. I was shocked, but kept walking toward the classroom, accompanied by nasty whispers all around me. That photo still stood before my eyes. Simeon has gone missing. Simeon is gone. His fat fingers will never get to my throat. His signet ring won't smash into my chin. He'll never humiliate me again. Wasn't that what I wished for? On the other hand, did I really wish Simeon to become a murky stain on the notice board? He was still someone's son, or a grandson, and he went through the same struggles as me. Did I really wish for my unseen companion to dispatch him in such a brutal fashion? I didn't know the answer, or I was just scared of it. You know, he is an ugly kid, and the only reason I'll be like, yeah, he's ugly is because he uses a lot of slurs, and that kid sucked, and was a bully. Nonetheless, school still had something nice about it. Polina, the girl with the violin, was like a mountain spring. Oh yeah, we also had a nightmare that Polina didn't like us, and we turned into a bunny. It's like a mountain spring, like well water that you gulp down, pressing your lips against the zinc outer ring of a bucket and can't ever get enough. What if I make her one of the characters in the story I'll draw? The protagonist will save her from terrifying monsters. I believe we were normal, we were human size, but we're a tiny bunny because, uh, you know, we weren't as cool as the other animals because they're like, you know, wolves and shit. As soon as I thought of monsters, a bunch of my classmates slid down the rails, smirking like the xenomorphs from the Alien. I immediately felt larvae of fear writhe in my stomach. I didn't want to cross paths with Wonka and Biasha after what happened yesterday, especially since Simeon suddenly went missing. I entered the classroom and went toward the last row. All the chatter suddenly died down, so I walked there in complete silence. It felt like my classmates pushed and poked me with their stares. They carefully observed my every move. They looked at me with a mortifying mix of pity, ridicule, and derision, like a scientist looks at an ugly representative of a newfound species of worms. I stared at the desk with a huge pile of library textbooks on top, my fists clenched. It felt like I was the one who disappeared in that snowy forest. My desk was finally used for something worthwhile. Simeon's empty chair stood in front of me. The chair that once belonged to Vova gathered dust somewhere in another classroom. Sit down. After a moment of hesitation, I sat down at Berberin's desk and placed the place where I was supposed to be assigned by Lilia Pavlovna at first. The chatter resumed as if someone just unpaused a movie. Baberin's grandma made such a fuss when he didn't return home. First she ran to the school, then called the cops. Yes, yes, yes. Katya snuck a cunning glance at me, then leaned in to her neighbor and whispered something. Girls from the second row also leaned in. She shared something with them too, whispers, nods. I kept catching her stare on myself. Her neighbors stared too. The whole class was watching me. It was like they felt the need to watch me because they were searching for traces of blood on my fingers. I wanted to defend myself and shout, "Guys, listen, I'm innocent!" The delinquents turned around and stared at me in silence. Their looks were dripping with malice. But why? What did I do to them? Their friend went missing and they're still focused on me. Suddenly I noticed Biasha drilling a hole in my nose with his eyes. Felt like he was about to point his finger at me and shout at the top of his lungs. "Everyone look, Babarin snatched his glasses yesterday, and now he has them back. Murderer." But he remained silent as if there was nothing special at all about my glasses. I may be going mad, but I think Biasha knows something. He knows something but he won't tell me what. As if looking for protection, I clutched the ruler until my hand hurt. You don't have to be Columbo to solve this. Okay, I don't actually need to click that one. I am old enough to know who Columbo is. TV detective. Good show. Who held a grudge against Babarin? The metal ruler fell out of my weak fingers. It hit the floor with a jingle that made the other kids shudder. Katya bit her tongue and squirmed nervously. Chairs scraped against the floor. My classmates moved away from me, closer to the exit, toward the teacher's desk. I was not the only one to catch wind of that change. Ramka and Biasha looked around and winced in contempt. Too bad that they weren't afraid of me like everyone else. Shut it. Bet your Babarin just got a whipping from his old hag and ran off. They'll find him soon. They'll find him all right. In a ravine with the stomach cut open. Gulped. I imagined Sioma on a snowy blanket, his face, white like a fish belly, split down the middle by the crevice of his mouth, snowflakes falling on his glassy eyes and filling up his throat. See, I could almost hear his condescending tone. It's all your fault. Why was Simeon the only one to get his just desserts for bullying me? Weren't all of them supposed to disappear? Ramka, Biasha, Kyatya, along with every laughing onlooker? Of course, Simeon did me a favor by disappearing. Thanks to him, my classmates now stared at me in awe. That is only one side of the coin. What if I have to repay that favor soon? The door creaked. Polina entered the classroom. I straightened up in a hurry so she wouldn't see me looking like a scared critter. Polina went to her seat without looking at me. The ringer's trill announced the start of the class. All right, stop messing around. Class, stand up. You too, Petrov. Lilia Pavlovna went to her desk, followed by a policeman in a uniform. It was the man that visited us just recently, tall, and his stare so sharp you could get cut on it. Ahem. Hello there, kids. Hi. You can sit down, kids. This is Senior Lieutenant Konstantin Vladimirovich Konstantin Vladimirov Vladimirovich Tikhonov. He's going to ask you a couple of questions and give you a small PSA. Class livened up. Talking to a policeman was way better than studying. I, on the other hand, was ready to sit through hundreds of hours of Russian literature just to escape the lieutenant's oppressive stare. His brown eyes felt around the classroom looking for me. Hair stood on the back of my neck, and an icicle had lodged in my gut. Is it true that Babrin got killed by a serial killer? Shush. Ekaterina, let the adults ask questions here. We're all scared. Maybe the killer is somewhere close. Maybe they're even sitting among us. She said among us. Her sly stare was directed at me. Tikhonov stepped in between the rows of desks and started walking at an excruciatingly slow pace, brushing his fingers against the chairs as he passed. Some of the students almost broke their necks following his movements. That's how a crowd of commoners would gleefully anticipate a public execution in the Middle Ages. And he just walked, getting closer and closer to me. I gritted my teeth to stop myself from screaming. Calm down. Breathe. Didn't kill or kidnap anyone. I already knew the answer to his question. The policeman still asked in a stern voice.
Petrov Anton?
Anton Petrov?
Да.
Yes.
Встань, Петров.
Stand up, Petrov. My muscles turned to stone. I got up, unglued myself from the chair. I felt like I could hear all my joints creak in the process. I only wished that Polina wouldn't turn around and see the grimace of horror on my face. If only I could be somewhere far away, in the forest, digging myself into a snow pile, rolling up into a ball there. The officer stared at me as if he was about to lock a pair of handcuffs on my wrists. Wonder how cold these bracelets are to the touch. I imagined myself getting jailed and put into a juvenile detention center where tens of simians would constantly harass me.
Я ничего не знаю. Я тут ни при
I
чем.
don't know anything. I have nothing to do with this.
А тебя никто и не обвиняет.
Nobody is accusing you of anything.
Пока что.
For now. Only then I noticed a file that said case number in his hand. It had a gray cover made from rough carton. Case number 131. It flopped onto the desk like a guillotine blade that slid down on someone's neck. With a measured motion, Tikhonov opened the file, still studying me with his gaze. I caught a glimpse of documents and photos. They showed prints on the snow. They looked like animal prints.
Ты с Семеном Бабуриным общался?
Have you talked to Simeon Babarin before?
Я знал его всего одну
Only
неделю.
knew him for a week.
Все знают.
Everyone knows that Petrov hated him.
Иди.
I turned red. You ugly bitch. I wanted to sink my teeth into Katya's face and chew out her cheek. Okay, that's, you know, like, calling her a bitch is one thing, because she is. But then, like, I want to eat her face. It's a very different reaction. Okay, what? I wasn't sure if you were saying, yo, hot, or yo, what? Like, yo, hot, I expect that from Carp. I did not expect that from you, Anydo. But yo, what makes a lot more sense. Instead, I replied with the calmest voice I could muster.
Мы повздорили не так давно.
We had a fight some time ago.
Он меня ударил.
He hit me. A voice came from the side.
Хана тебе.
You're fucked.
Так, Пятифанов, а ну рот закрой.
Hey, Pyatafanov. Pyatafanov? Shut your mouth. I staggered, barely able to keep my balance. Surprisingly, Lilia Pavlovna came to my rescue.
Бабурин проблемный подросток.
Babrin is
Такое
troubled teen, a true pain in the rear. I did notice that it had Petrov Anton written behind everything. The officer replied with a meaningful nod and fished out a notebook out of his file. Okay,
Это твое?
so that was my notebook that I saw. I thought, like, he had written on the back of the envelope that's crafted the case file. It was basically like, who did it? I already know it's Anton Petrov. Clearly. Is this yours? I averted my gaze. It was a math notebook with my name on it. My classmates devoured me greedily with their eyes. Felt like even the writers on the portrait squinted at me in suspicion.
Моё.
Yes?
В лесу нашли.
We found it in the forest.
Там же тракторист, что
In
снег
the area where the tractor driver who was plowing snow there last saw Bavarin. I started blinking in bewilderment. Romka ransacked my school bag. This notebook probably just got lost somewhere in the bushes. The lieutenant knew about the school brawl, but was he aware of the fight in the forest clearing? I had witnesses that could testify to Simeon and I walking in different directions after that. I looked toward the boys, hopeful. Ranka, who was sat behind Tikhonov, put a finger to his lips. And when the officer quickly turned around, he pretended to pick on his nose. I deciphered his signal. Boys like Ranka would probably say something like snitches get stitches in a situation like this. I frantically fixed my glasses. Wait, Simeon took them away yesterday, but now they're...
Так что ты делал вчера в лесу, Антон?
So what were you doing in the forest yesterday, Anton?
Я в школу через лес
Go
хожу.
to school through the forest.
Могла выпасть легко.
It could have easily fallen out of my bag. Easily. Just like me producing this half-truth.
Будь осторожнее.
Be careful out there. Before I could realize whether it was a genuine piece of advice or a veiled threat, the teacher said,
Класс.
Class, the officer will now tell you about some rules you should follow. So the killer does exist.
Пока мы ничего
We can't
вам сказать
make
не
any of this public for now.
Но есть преступник или
Whether
нет,
the
вы
criminal
должны
really
только
exists or
пользоваться
not, you should be
своей
mindful of your safety.
безопасностью. Вас бережет милиция.
The police,
Ваши
your
педагоги
parents,
и
and your
учителя.
teachers all
Но
watch
в
over
первую
you,
очередь
but no
защищать
one
себя
guard you
должны
better
вы
than
сами.
yourself.
Итак,
Alright,
там
any
что
questions? Stockade of arms rose from the desks. The kids shouted over each other, swarming the policeman with questions. In an attempt to calm down that chorus, he moved toward the blackboard. The gray file was left lying in front of me. I stared at it, breathing so ragged that it might have looked like someone who just ran a 100-meter sprint. Beads of sweat rolled down my back. I looked around the classroom. Classmates were catching officers' every word. Only Ronka was saying something to Biasha. Lilia Pavlovna was staring into the window. No, she's not. She's staring straight at me. I can see that. Fighting back yawns.
комендантский час, причин пока нет.
Do I
Слишком
open it
мало
or not?
времени прошло с момента исчезновения вашего.
Fucking odds of it. As soon as I touched the folder, Tikhonov lashed at me with his eyes. My hand instinctively moved away as if that stare actually hurt. The officer just kept staring at me without saying a word, making me squirm under the weight of this uncomfortable silence and the sneering looks of my classmates. And then he suddenly continued his speech as if nothing ever happened.
Одноклассника. Мы все уверены, что он найдется живым и здоровым.
Oh, okay. I was supposed to wait for him to look away. I was like, okay. Like, you would think at that point he'd be like, hey, kid, give me back my fucking case file. But he's like, nah, I'll give you another chance, kid. You look curious. Look, the game already called me a pussy for not fighting, Babarin in school hallways. It's fine. Nobody paid me any mind, so I slowly opened the file. My fingers started sifting through the documents. Ksenia Talaleva, 6 years old. Left her home sometime in December. Identifying features. Okay. My heart almost jumped out from my ribcage. Round-faced girl, no older than Olya, smiled at me from the photo. First victim of a serial killer? First child to disappear in the forest without trace? I turned another page. Vladimir Matyukin, 10 years old. Vova was the second. His mitten hanging from the branch, his name called out by desperate adults and repeated by the sneering gecko. Lilia Pavlovna coughed, trying to calm down the rowdy students. I yanked my hand away and the file closed.
Говорим о диких животных. Как известно, в наших лицах водятся...
I was not paying attention. He only faked turning around, the bastard. I clanged my teeth from surprise. Pushed myself into the back of my chair, blinking in bewilderment. The officer silently gathered the documents and gave me a stern look.
Больно ты любопытный, Петров.
Well, aren't you a curious boy, Petrov? Well, again, that's your fault for leaving that on my desk. Like, you gonna leave a case file on any student's desk. And they reached for it. Didn't even say, like, I had gone to open it. It just said I reached for it. And he looked at me. And then let me have the case file still. That's on you for not taking the case file. It's your fault, sir.
И еще раз.
Aw, it says I got caught napping. I missed the policeman's speech. I wasn't napping. I was snooping. Let me say this again.
Если вы заметите в
If you see anyone suspicious in the village,
неважно,
be it near the school or on the forest trail,
сразу
contact the
заявляйте
police
в милицию.
immediately.
Телефон-то знаете?
You know our number, right? 02. Oh, that's a lot faster than 911.
Спасибо, ребята.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls.
Спасибо, Лилия
Thank
Павловна.
you, Lilia Pavlovna.
И это.
And
А как
we'll
вы
find her
сделали,
classmate. Yeah, right, a thought flashed through my mind. Dig through enough ditches, maybe you'll be able to piece them together. Like Legos. My thoughts turned evil for some reason. I couldn't control them. I tried to switch to the lieutenant's speech about suspicious individuals. What if I saw the killer before? What if I was a hair's breadth away from them? Suspicious people. How suspicious was the fox girl that wandered in the darkness? A weirdo that always appeared out of nowhere and then dissolves into thin air with her riddles and rhymes? Not suspicious, she gave us candy. Did she really harm the hulking simian? No, she would never. She's nice. Should I tell the officer about her? What if lives of other students depend on this? Or the cute Ksenia and Volva too? What if I get mocked for speaking out? What if they start whispering behind my back? Or what's even worse, think that I'm insane? Ronka gave me a stern look over the shoulder. Doubt someone like him would approve of cooperating with the police. Kiatia's braid dangled nervously behind the delinquent sitting in front of me. My hand is glued to the
До
desk.
свидания, лейтенант.
Tokunov was saying goodbye to Lilia Pavlovna. You can just say the teacher, you don't have to say her name every single time. He was about to leave. It'd be too late soon. I mean, I'm not batting out Fox Girl to him. No way. I've had enough of humiliation. Because Fox Girl's innocent, clearly. I'll keep my head down, like a bunny, a tiny bunny. I locked my fingers and zipped my mouth. The bell rang. Lilia Pavlovna passed by without looking my way. Polina left after her. Yeah, she did nothing wrong. She gave us candy. I mean, what could be worse than someone giving you candy? A lot of things. I don't know why I said what could be worse. Like, what could be more innocent than someone giving you candy? My classmates went silent at the same time as if someone muted the sound on a TV. They followed me with their eyes the whole time I was passing between the rows. Judgmental looks. I felt like I was in the scopes of mini sniper rifles. I squeezed through the barricade made of desks looking for Polina. Uh, but I stumbled into my new buddies instead. Ronka swaggered up to me. Decide to rat us out to the cops? I didn't. In fact, you may have noticed I kept my mouth shut.
Но я ничего не сказал.
Didn't say anything.
Я то подумал.
Sure as fuck thought about it, eh? Romka towered over me, breathing out a faint smell of tobacco. You're very wrong if you think that with that Sioma, you'll have a better time here. We'll make this place hell for you, got it? See you, Four Eyes. Also, I noticed... hold on, can I... Yeah. He just has a... Team Boys! My head tilted forward from the slap. What a loser. Eh. Wasn't surprised finding a note stuck to my back during the break. It said... I mean, you don't need to say it's I'm pretty sure we can all read that. It says kick me. Kick me. My nightmare clearly wasn't about to end. Grant, okay, wait, never mind. Never mind. I know why it said this. Because it's a Russian game, hence why all the writing on the chalkboard was in Russian. That might have been English in the Russian version, so therefore they're like, we probably need to translate it in case people don't speak English that are playing this game. That's probably why it said. It's been 7 days since the lieutenant visited our class. First glance, everything was still the same. Here's our lovely house. The forest still held out its gnarly claws toward the village, and the wind whipped up white flags weaved from powdery snow every night. When my parents argued in another room, I'd turn up the TV's volume to silence their muffled voices and sit close to Olya. Vova's and Simeon's photos were still 2 black spots on the notice board, and round-faced Senya hasn't returned home, too. But something did change. See how different the looks of my classmates were. They met me with a new portion of pokes and insults. Contempt, mockery, and loneliness became my faithful companions. Hey, Carp! But most importantly, shadow slid across my desk, leaving behind a mysterious note. I glanced into the space between rows, but the messenger was already nowhere to be found. Who sent me this note? What could this carefully ripped out and neatly folded piece of paper be hiding from me? Do you like me? Yes, no. More threats and humiliation, or... I took the piece of paper and carefully inhaled the wafting aroma. Blackberry. I'll be waiting at a cul-de-sac near the dressing room. Come alone, heart. Now, is it... the girl that we like? Is it Katya bullying us? Or is it Fox Girl? Put a new box that says new desk, who dis? Inside was a message in beautiful handwriting. I'm waiting at a dead end near the dressing room. Come alone. Yeah. Yeah, that is odd to say a cul-de-sac near the dressing room. Because cul-de-sac's like a street, basically. Like, I guess it could refer to a dead-end hallway, but that's not what you think of when you think of a cul-de-sac. Drunk on that sudden call, I immediately start walking, looking over my shoulder from time to time, making sure nobody's following me. And even though I suspected it could be another trap set up by Romka and Biasha at first, this buzzing thought soon left my mind. The two of them didn't have enough combined brain power to fake Polina's note so carefully, but Katya does. Didn't even notice I almost broke into a run and jumped around the corner. As soon as I did that, I rammed into somebody inside the dark nook.
Ой,
No. Like a magic bird, a green notebook glided to my feet. Polina puffed her cheeks in exaggerated anger.
Петров!
Petrov, have you lost your sight completely? I fixed my glasses. My nearsightedness wasn't that embarrassing anymore. Bent down and picked up the notebook.
Прости, я так торопился.
Sorry, I was in a rush.
Ждала?
Were you waiting for me? Did something happen? Polina studied me with her eyes and clicked her tongue.
А знаешь, на что ты
Do you
похож?
know what you look like, Antosha?
На блюзовую
Like blues improv. I'm sure she's gonna clarify that, but what the fuck does that mean? You're wild looking, man. Alright, enjoy your alert, Carp. Appreciate you coming out. I blinked in bewilderment. Cause yeah, what the fuck does that mean? No one says that.
Это как?
What do you mean?
Для меня все люди
I always
сейчас
associate people I know with something.
И для меня. Но
I
не
do that too,
слышишь?
but why music?
Вот как раз
Cause she plays the violin. That's her personality. It can't be anything other than music. It's her personality.
бывают люди.
Some people are like guitar solos, some are drums. People like our Lilia Pavlovna are war marches. Just say teacher. Oh my god, that's so weird saying people like our Lilia Pavlovna. People like our teacher are war marches.
А ты такой
You're so
задумчивый,
thoughtful, so mysterious.
таинственный.
Sometimes even a
Ты
bit
немного
sad.
печальный. Ты точно
You're
блюз.
definitely blues.
А почему
And what about the improv part? Hey Aisha, how's it going? We're playing your game.
А это когда слушатель не догадывается.
It's when the listener has no idea where the melody will go, what tempo it will adopt. Of course, some of the things Polina said went completely over my head. But I couldn't stop looking at her smile, like a breeze in May, and her eyes deep and blue.
Чтобы распознать в тебе музыку,
One needs to
нужен
have
опыт.
experience and taste to recognize the music in you.
Это не какая-то там
You're not some
эстрада.
pop music.
Я, наверное, вообще не
I don't
знаю,
think
что
I
это
even know what
такое.
blues is. Anton, I know you're a kid. But to be like, I don't know what blues is. Shame on you. Selena gasped and frowned, which made her look even more beautiful. Okay, so Anton likes Sundares. Gotcha.
Не произноси при мне такие слова.
Don't say something like that to my face.
Обязательно дам кассету.
I'll make sure to give you a cassette.
Раньше мне дедушка искал
Grandpa used to bring me so much music from the city. Jazz, swing, and classical too.
классику. Это он подметил, что у меня
He was the
слух
one who
музыканта.
wanted to notice my musical mindset.
Я еще совсем маленькой.
When I was still very little, I tried recording the sounds of nature on paper, the songs of the rain and the forest.
Эх, мне бы твои уши.
I wish I had ears like yours.
А мне бы
Pierced.
твои глаза.
And I'd love to have your eyes. Bad. I tensed up, worried that she was making fun of me, but Polina shook her head.
Да-да, я
No,
серьезно.
no, I'm serious.
Тебя
You have the
глаза
eyes of an
очень
artist. I mean, he does draw a lot. In paint, I believe he also uses watercolor. Sorry if you can hear the clinking on my glass. I put energy holy in a glass because I it's something I've noticed with my ADD. Energy drinks don't like get me like woken up. They level me out. Uh, because I mean that's basically what Adderall is. Is like it's basically like speed. Uh, and for whatever reason, with people like ADD and ADHD, energy drinks tend to level them out instead of get them hyper. But the thing with the energy drink for holy is if you let it sit too long, it breaks apart again. Not breaks apart again. Condenses again. And so I'm trying to prevent it just being like at the very end, just a giant thing of powder. Yeah, she needs to learn personal space. Um, no, I'm serious. You have the eyes of an artist.
Смотришь на вещи
You're so good at
красиво.
picturing things. I can't do that. It's a fun little tree at the end of the cup. Last time I put it into a little glass, I had just the powder at the end, but it's not the what kind of like separates is the energy portion of it. So you've already drank all the flavor and like the food coloring. And so at the end it's just pure energy. And so I had to like refill the glass and like stirred it up. And you have like a hint of the flavor. It becomes a LaCroix, basically. You're like, oh, someone sneezed the flavor of apple over this energy drink. Um, Whereas if it's mixed up, then you're getting a even level of the energy drink as you drink it. So good at picturing things. I can't do that. Oh my god, it's Katya. Katya walked past us with her trademark frosty glare. Like, I know it's a visual novel, so, you have, like, set character portraits, but I do like the idea that she's crab walking past because she wants to be facing us while also looking away. We dove in the shadows trying to escape it.
Теперь понимаешь, почему мы тут прячемся?
You understand why we're hiding here, right?
Как она.
Because people like her.
А Катька какая мелодия.
What kind of melody is Katya? Helena flashed me a smile.
Скрип несмазанных
The
дверных
squeaky
ручек.
sound of unoiled door hinges.
Знаешь такой
You know,
месяц?
this nasty discount. You know what? I'm gonna hit up uh okay. Okay, fuck you, Google. It, Google can show you pronunciation of words. But then because of how fucked Google is with its algorithm now, it's like, but we want to show you like 18 YouTube videos of the pronunciation instead of just pronouncing the word for you. But if you type in Google pronunciation, it's like, oh yeah, here's how you pronounce Google in our little search algorithm. And it's stupid. So, we're just gonna go with Descant. Descant. I giggled, covering my mouth. Katya didn't hear our whispers, but she suddenly glanced over her shoulder, clearly annoyed. A moment later, she sighed and went her way. I remembered about the notebook I was still clutching in my hand. Turned it in my hands. Morozova. Okay. Friends only. Are we allowed to look at it? Instead of a subject name, the front side had the name of the owner in 2 words. Friends only.
Любопытной Варваре кое-что...
Curiosity killed the cat, you know. But satisfaction brought it back, Polina. Open that shit up.
Прости, это анкета?
I'm sorry, is this a questionnaire?
Заполнял когда-нибудь?
Have you ever filled one? I lied that I had. Great job lying to her. In reality, girl classmates from my previous school never asked me to fill their questionnaires. It was quite upsetting. I've never heard of this. I might be telling on myself that I've never filled out these questionnaires, but I've never heard of these questionnaires. I mean, it was a girl hobby. Just answer a set of standard questions about your favorite actors and colors. When trusting someone with such a notebook was a sign of friendship. Maybe of something even more. Something I had only a vague idea about.
Хочешь?
Best
заполни
friends.
мою?
You can fill in mine if you want. My heartbeat quickened.
Хочу. Спасибо.
Do, thank you. Oh, sorry. I was like, what the fuck does I do mean in response to that? But it was if you want. Okay, yeah. They're very common in the early 2000s. Like I said, I might have been telling on myself. Wait, no, I did do it once. That's right. And it was one of those situations that, like, every guy has a story of, like, and then 7 years later I realized that they had a crush on me. It was one of those moments where, like, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll fill it out kind of thing. And I filled it out. And then it was like 7 years later, I realized that that person had a crush on me. I was like, oh. But they had already moved away. But it's like, oh, wow, I'm dumb. Lena giggled.
А хотя,
Actually, there are so many secrets there.
наверное, лучше тебе...
You'd be better off not knowing what we think. What we, girls, think. Yeah, I had a lot of moments of being like, oh, that person had a crush on me. The worst, I think, was, I was in high school, and so it's, was it freshman, junior, sophomore, senior, or is it whichever one was the second year? I don't remember it. I think it's freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Yeah, that sounds right. Either way, whichever one was the second year. First year. Freshman year. I'd had a class with a girl. We got along really well, but I have a habit of then immediately wiping my mind of everything that happened that year as soon as I hit summer. Just like, nope, don't remember anything anymore. And the next year, we're in an anime club together. And I was like, wow, that girl's kind of cute and she seems really friendly. Completely had forgotten about her. Completely forgot that we were like desk mates in a history class. And we're getting along, we started dating, and it was one of those where, like, you're just innocuously asking questions. I was like, so when do you, first find out that you like me? She's like, freshman year when we were in this class together. And I had a laugh with her that I didn't remember that class at all. And she was so hurt that I had completely forgotten about that entire year. I felt bad, but I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you and say I completely remember the year. I don't remember any of it. And people are amazed that I can be single for so long at times. When it's like, no, I have the memory of a goldfish sometimes. I'll just completely forget shit. She reached for the notebook, playing with me. I tossed my finding into my free hand. Polina tried to intercept my move. Her hair briefly touched my face, tickling my nose with its silky locks. I sensed an aroma that immediately filled the whole world, fragrant, alluring, lively. If only I could picture it, steal it for myself. I felt dizzy. I gathered myself and spoke in a voice reminiscent of Lieutenant Tikhonov. Your questionnaire is an important piece of evidence, so I'm afraid I have to confiscate it for further examination. Lena covered her mouth, that rounded in fake horror.
И что мне грозит?
And what are the implications of concealing evidence?
Следствие покажет.
We'll decide that in the course of our investigation.
Сдаюсь.
I surrender, Mr. Policeman.
Только обещайте
Just
ничего
promise you
не
won't read anything.
Здесь
It's full of
содержится
sensitive
секретные
information.
сведения. Боюсь, что мне всё
I'm
это
afraid I'll have to
известно.
investigate whether someone is in love with Mr. Petrov. Polina burst out laughing and pressed herself against my chest, showering me with the aroma of her hair and her milky skin. It looked almost transparent, with tiny threads of veins running under it. Wow, you just made her sound really, creepy. I know, pale skin is a beauty standard in a lot of different cultures, but being she had almost transparent skin and you could see her veins. It's a very weird statement. Her whisper was hot, like a piece of butter sizzling on a pan.
Тогда поклянитесь,
And
что
swear
не
that you will
станете
keep this information
скрывать
private.
информацию.
Честная милицейская.
I swear on my police badge.
А теперь, Антоша,
And now we need to
садись,
hurry,
и поторопись.
Antosha. I took out the notebook during class. Well, somebody is learning calligraphy. I skimmed through it, reading into other people's preferences. I was quite surprised to discover that Ronka's jerky handwriting inside. Okay, so we got Roma Piatfan 6B, Shevchensky, February, hanging out. Oh! These are the answers. I was like, who the fuck is 6B in February? Buying a BMW. Used to like Stallone, but prefers Schwarzenegger. Don't trust, don't fret, don't ask. I'm assuming that's his motto. His birth date, favorite show, his crush, Biasha. His letters bulged out of the cells as if embarrassed by their shapelessness. Fearsome Ronka found time for something so silly. I chuckled in my fist as I found out that Ronka's favorite cartoon is not even Darkwing Duck, but DuckTales. Whoa, don't shit on DuckTales, okay? DuckTales was great. Darkwing Duck's cool. I prefer DuckTales. Somewhere in the distance, a teacher was reciting pieces of Andreev's Snapper. I paid them no mind. Polina's page was decorated with the flower drawings and clippings from the Cool Girl magazine. Okay, so she's also in 6B. Franz Schubert. My birthday. Listening, seeing the world. Robert Schumann. Losing the people I love, so that's her greatest fear. Wait. 3/24/92. Is Romka, 5 years older than her? Town musician of Bremen. And Grandpa. Favorite musician is Schubert. Best friend is her grandpa. Her hobby is not violin like I expected, but much more mysterious listening. Can such a mundane process really be someone's hobby? Also, this is not what I thought of when it's questionnaire kind of thing. The one that I did was more they kept the notebook and asked you the questions. Kind of thing. guess this isn't her notebook. Fucking, but it has her name on it. So she wasn't the first one to answer the question. She asked someone else and then answered the questions herself, I guess. I looked at Polina over the heads of other students. She was focused on taking notes. Oh, and then we got the cool S's. Flipped the pages until I found a blank one, armed myself with a pen. Okay, what's your name? What class are you in? Your favorite music? Your favorite holiday? Your hobby? What's your dream? Your hero? Your biggest fear? Your phone number? Okay, those weren't birthdays, those were phone numbers. Your favorite cartoon and your best friend. Anton Petrov, Class 6B. Okay. Decent handwriting. I see he throws in some script every now and then. It took a long time to decide my favorite musician until a trendy pop band, Carman, came into my mind. Cool dancers in their music video. Carman, a Soviet and Russian techno pop band most popular from the late 80s to early 90s. Founded by Bogdan Titomir and Sergei Limuk. It is mostly remembered for unique dancing performances and for writing a music theme for the Captain Cronin cartoon. Favorite holiday? This one's easy. New Year's. I have never known anyone that's like, I love New Year's. Maybe like, the Lunar New Year, but like Western New Year's. Most people are like, it's an excuse to get drunk. My hobby is drawing. My dream, going to Disneyland, I guess. My hero. My hand moved on its own, writing death. Stopped on those two letters. Why are you indenting it so much, sir? What if those who read this after me will find my answer laughable and stupid? After thinking for a bit, I said that not everything should be disclosed on paper. That's how I turned that. Okay, that's why it's indented so much. Turned it into Spydar Man. The spelling was wrong, but who cares? Now everyone knows you're an idiot who can't spell. Biggest fear, huh? Amelia wrote losing a person who's dear to me. Her phone number. And no secret here, 30395. Your favorite cartoon. Transformers. Your best friend. I hesitated, gnawing on the pin cap. Your best friend. Read the question out loud. It was easy, at the same time very important. Answer to that was my sister's name, but carefully wrote it into the squares. Olia. Okay. You're trying to impress Polina. Writing a girl's name. Although it's true you're writing your sister. You might want to put comma, my sister, in there. So that if Polina reads it, she doesn't go, oh, he likes someone else. Who I don't know. Must go to a different school. Because you just transferred. This is how you fumbled the bag, Anton. There's a cute, freshly drawn dragon in my notebook that I made to please my beloved sister. It is a very cute dragon. Let's get a better look at that. And that's a good dragon. In this land of darkness and deceit, her support was the only thing that inspired me to keep drawing and stopped me from losing hope in humanity. Refreshing frosty air made my cheeks turn beet red. It was bright outside, and the sun looked like a whole egg yolk. Odd way to describe it. I get what you're saying, but still an odd way to describe it. The road looked as if it was silvered, The snow sparkled under the sunlight. I smiled, squinting from the blinding whiteness. Who cares if I don't have any true friends anymore? I have something more important. Someone who needs my help. Who will never betray or hurt me. Family is the most important thing ever. That's what Dad always told me.
Лыс хорош рыбу тянуть.
Hey, what's up with the stupid grin? My numb lips immediately shrank. Yasha was shuffling his feet in the middle of the yard, his boots restless on the ice.
Я не тяну.
I do like the North fake. That is good. That is a good we need to not use the official name. It's not a grin. I tried to go around him to no avail. Lady Fortune waved me goodbye, disappearing into the early twilight.
Торопишься на?
In a hurry, eh?
Немного. Меня
A little
помнишь?
bit. Dad is waiting for me.
Я ему тиркну на
I'll shoot him a pager message that you're not coming, eh? Okay. I mean, for the youngins out there, a pager was texting, but that's basically what it was. You would page someone else's pager number and write a message. They'd be like, hey, like, gonna be late or something. And then their pager would go off and it'd scroll across it that you messaged them what the message was. Usually it's just like, hey, call me when you get a chance kind of thing. My eye flinched unwittingly, my skin dampened.
Идем.
Let's go, eh? We have a small business to discuss. I felt chills run all over my body. I didn't like the sound of that. Small business. Those words, accompanied by spitting, normally hid very dark deeds underneath them. Strangers that used to call our old apartment used to say, "Get your old man, we have a small business to discuss." Biasha turned around. He looked like an astronaut in his tight hood. If I were to imagine him as a sound, he'd be a deafening whistle, a signal given by someone who stands watch. To my demise, there was nothing at the backyard. Apart from the grim-faced Ronka. He stood there, his feet wide apart, with his right hand hidden behind his back. Oh, okay, I thought that was just, like, lodged in his pocket. Ronka's dry lips were tightly pursed. He kept shooting glances at me as he looked around.
Привел на.
There he is, eh?
Вижу.
I can see that.
Ну, здорово.
Well, hello there, Antosha.
Что тебе нужно?
What do you want? Oh shit, he got a butterfly knife. He slowly took out a thin, carnivorously shiny blade from behind his back. A knife, the steel butterfly of death that flies toward the victim's heartbeat. I stepped back instinctively and ran my backpack into Biasha. Ranka's minion pushed me back.
А мы с Бешей хотели
We
узнать.
wanted to know.
Ты не держишь на
Do you have any hard feelings for me or Biasha? Ranka started picking on his yellow nail, looking at me with an evil smirk on his face. Oh yeah, 'cause he smokes. That's like yellow nail, but he smokes, so that explains it.
Ну, там, в лесу.
Well, there in the forest, we kind of roughed you up.
Сам понимаешь. Так
It's just our poor upbringing, you know.
Да, давай.
Yeah, not as cultured as you, city folk.
Вот порой нас и заносит.
So we get feisty sometimes. I nodded, my eyes glued to the knife. The blade glowed under the setting sun, and Ranka's eyes had the same evil glow. He stepped toward me. His knife traveled inches away from my coat. One movement and steel would cut into the cloth, and if he pushes deeper.
Нам одна птичка
The
написана.
little bird told us that you were snooping around Polina again. I was so scared that it took me a while to remember who Polina was. My brain was malfunctioning, my knees were shaking. Suddenly, our class rep slowly walked up to Ranka from behind. I
смотри.
see you boys are getting along quite well.
За мной должок.
I owe you one, Katya.
Ой.
Oh, no need to thank me, Romochka. I'm always fighting for true love.
Даже. Да-да-да.
Yes, yes, yes. I'll kill you, I swear.
Так, я не слышу.
Can't hear you. Were you
Подходила
near
или нет?
Polina or not?
Мы...
Well, we didn't hang out or anything.
Болтать будешь кишками.
Only thing hanging out here will be your guts when I cut open your stomach. The blade slid across my sleeve with its dull side and reached my collar. The wind made my face cold, but bead of sweat still trickled from my temple. A switch flipped in my head. It all made sense now. Remember Romka constantly sneaking glances at Polina. Remember the scrawny handwriting in the questionnaire. Why didn't I study it more in depth?
Еще раз замечу рядом с Полиной.
See you near Polina once, even once, and you won't get away with a simple bump.
Усек?
Got it.
Да.
Yes.
Пшел вон!
Now scram. Probably so hypnotized by the knife that Ronka had to repeat this threat. Scram! Thought by the cold, sharp blade when retreating from the yard. I was asking myself whether I had enough courage to break the promise I made to these bastards. Okay, well that's quite a jump. The aftertaste of horrible water drank down my meds and lingered. The aftertaste of horrible water I drank down my meds with lingered in my mouth. My thoughts were focused on Polina. But Ronka's threat was also in my mind. I wandered around the house, feeling intoxicated, and nodded everything my sister said without trying to discern her words. Olya was talking non-stop, at times lifting up her arms and laughing, only then suddenly go quiet and give me Mom's signature gnarly look. I was yanked out of the prison of my own mind. Her seething thoughts pecked at my brain like harpies, stopping me from coming back to reality. I stared back. Olya looked like a mini version of her mom right now. Well, to be precise, she looked like the person Mom turned into when we moved here, with her intimidating posture and her eyebrows directed toward the ceiling.
Ты меня не слушал?
You weren't listening to me, were you? She tried spitting out those words at me, copying facial expressions of the person she spent almost all of her free time with. For a moment, I felt like the light Olya exuded all these years waned and wavered in the wind of prolonged changes. Very soon, my beautiful princess will turn into the dragon that was once guarding her prison tower. That thought was much scarier to me than any other horror sneaking up to me from the future.
Оля, прости.
Sorry, Olya.
Ты же не сердишься,
I don't want to make you mad. I just got lost in thought. I looked around the room, my gaze jumping from one object to another like a hungry beast, trying to find anything that could distract Olya.
Давай в приставку поиграем.
Let's play the console. Olya pouted. There was a spark of interest in her small emerald eyes. Snow Queen's ice shard inside them started thawing.
А как же второй джойстик?
What about the second controller? It's not working.
А папе починить?
Dad has no time to fix it.
Можем из пистолета
We can
пострелять.
play with the light gun.
Ковбоев или уток.
Where do you want to play? Cowboys? Ducks?
Ты лучше меня
You're
играй.
better than me at both.
Да ладно
Oh,
тебе.
come on.
Папе целый день
You must have been
тренировался.
practicing the whole time I was away from home. Olya burst out laughing. Her heart was warm once again. How do you know?
Догадался? Я сейчас знаю.
Well, I'm a good shooter now. You've already lost.
Не на того напала.
Pick the
Включай
wrong
скорее.
fight here. Come on, turn it on. Little Olya jumped toward the TV set and after flicking the power switch started blindly feeling around the backside of the photon, trying to plug the console's cables into the antenna input. Fitz TV show started flashing on the CRT screen when I armed myself with the remote to look for channels that sought after Dindy signal. Okay, the Dindy is basically like a knockoff Nintendo that was popular in Russia, if I remember correctly. Yeah, an 8-bit gaming console that circulated in the CIS regions in the 90s. It was an unofficial third-generation Famicom or NES clone. Neither Famicom nor NES were ever licensed for the Russian market, so Dindy was the only popular alternative for 8-bit gaming during the time period.
Что дома интересного происходило?
Did anything interesting happen at home? It was a mundane question for me. I didn't put any actual meaning behind it. Olia's expression suddenly changed. She lost all the childish nonchalantness she worked so hard to acquire before.
Оль, что-то случилось?
What happened, Olia? Sister managed to put the cable in its place and started brushing off her dust-covered hand. She was clearly looking for the courage to continue the conversation. Mom, she... Olia went silent, and for a moment I thought I saw tears welling up in her eyes. She had this scary thing happen to her again. My sister looked at me with wide eyes.
Приступ.
She had a fit, huh? This had happened before, but it was a rare occasion. Now that we've moved to this godforsaken place, Mom's fits rose in frequency. Dad brought home a big fish. It was wrapped in newspaper and had a foul smell. Mom got angry again and then she took a knife. Leah squirmed, looking fearfully out the window. They started screaming at each other. I froze, imagining my little sister so small and unnoticeable, standing in the kitchen doorway. She wasn't even trying to hide. Our parents just paid her no mind at all. Then Mom struck it. Like this. Olia slightly moved her fist downward, imitating a strike. She hit the fish. It was still alive, Tosha. It must have been in pain, and Mom... It's easy to imagine what happened next. The writhing fish with the blade between its fins squirted some foul-smelling musk into Mom's face. Never death got this close to my mom. Be it when a person was hit by a bus in front of us, or their blood was smeared all over the windshield. I'm sorry, what? Wait, whoa. So you guys hit someone with a bus? Or when Grandma chopped off a chicken's head, and always came to this weird, dreadful fit. Her eyes would roll over. Seizure warning, by the way, I guess. Also relevant to the game, but... her eyes would roll over. She would fall on her face like a freshly cut tree. Started writhing just like the agonizing fish, turning over chairs and blurting out bits of scary sentences. What about Dad? Did he help her? Olia shuddered as if just remembering it pained her. Yes, but at first... Started laughing, Tosha. Let an evil laugh when he saw that Mom was in trouble. But then he cried. Olia's story made me raise an eyebrow. It seemed like the forest's oozing madness had not only completely consumed her mom, but also infected her strong and courageous dad. I quickly stepped toward Olia and locked her into my tight embrace. She dug her face into my chest and I could feel my shirt becoming wet. Why are they bullying each other, Tosha? Are they crazy? I stuttered, unable to justify the actions of her parents. I had run out of words, and all I could do was hug Olia even tighter. Rude, game! Olia screamed and hid behind me. Turn it off, quick! No matter how many times she saw this intro, she would always react the same. Just like when she saw that owl. I don't blame her! What kind of fucking intro is that? I mean, I always got goosebumps every time the ghastly face appeared on screen, so I immediately complied with my sister's request. VID, a TV company logo depicting a ceramic head of the Chinese philosopher Gao Zhang, with a three-legged toad on top of his head, instilled horror in the whole generation of 90s kids in Russia. I don't blame them. Play. Finally, the game selection screen showed up on the cartridge as bundled with the cartridge console. Oh yeah, 9,999 and 1. Too bad most of the names were just different levels of the same game. Yeah, that happened a lot with those. I picked up the gray rectangular controller and started looking around the pixel letters to find the familiar English word for duck. I'm saying goose. Saying a lot of goose. Background music from the mini soothed Olia's mind, and she asked in a calm voice,
Твои дела в
"How are
школе?
things at school?"
Ничего хорошего.
"Nothing good.
Школа новая, а
The school is
достается
new, but my treatment is the same.
словно и не переезжали никуда.
As if we never moved. I'm so tired of this." Poor despair could lead me down its depressing road toward the clutches of oppressive thoughts. An evil writhed deep inside my skull. Bunny. Awakening wild and pleasant memories.
Хотя, знаешь,
Actually, something good did happen. Olia watched with hope-filled eyes as a wicked smile spread across my face, faintly resembling the wound from a box cutter knife.
еще один мальчик
Another
пропал.
boy went missing. Tosha, do you think that's good? Why do you say that? Sister's voice trembled. She looked into my eyes through the thick lenses.
Знаешь, а может,
You know that other missing boy, Vova.
виноват,
Maybe
что
what happened to him was all his fault.
может, он совершил
Maybe he did something so bad they no longer deserve to live.
заслуживал.
Don't be so cruel, please. Leah pressed her knees into her chin and hugged them with her hands, trying to take up less space, as if she wanted to shrink or even disappear altogether. It's the only reasonable thing for us to do, go missing among all the other broken toys. Never encounter evil parents or mad classmates. We're the only ones left for each other, the only ones who can protect, listen, and sympathize. I mean, she's bound to listen to what I think about them all. These beasts pretending to be children. They're so eager to bully the weak. It was my turn to speak.
Думаю, они не
I
последние.
think they won't be the last. My breathing quickens. My fingers start banging on the wooden floor.
Люди, как они,
People like
недостойны
them are
жить
not
в
worthy of
одной
living,
школе.
going to the same school with us,
Смотреть на
or
трусов.
looking at your light. My thoughts got tangled. They slipped away along with my calmness. Stop it. You're scaring me.
Не бойся.
Don't be
Я смогу
scared.
тебя
I can protect
защитить.
you. Then I finally noticed that Olia was looking at me like I was a stranger. Who are you? The rage that welled up inside me subsided. It hid under the guise of my cowardliness, leaving me alone with the growing feeling of guilt for scaring my sister.
Ольга, прости, я...
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Видимо, я схожу с ума в этой
Guess I'm
школе.
just going crazy in that school. She rushed to embrace me, barely holding back her tears. It's okay, Tosha. Just please never say anything like this again.
Клянусь маминым
Swear on Mom's heart. Olia flashed me a bitter smile. You told me I shouldn't say that.
Ты права.
You're right. Let's start playing already. I go first. Oh, look at a little seal. She gaming. You missed her, Doc. Okay, well, you hit my mouse like the entire time. Like, you made my mouse disappear. How am I supposed to shoot him? Let's get dangerous. I can't. You hide my mouse cursor. Oh, I don't know where I'm shooting. Who wants some more? We just gotta, like, hit every single time. Easy. Bang, bang! And they're dead. You lost, Tosha. I got her ass kicked. My mom only managed to get through to me on her third attempt. Anton, there's a call for you. It's a girl. Sobered up in an instant, rushed to the hallway. Watch your step. Grabbed the phone, pressed into my chest, looking at my mom. She shrugged and went to the room, gathering the toys thrown about by Olya as she went.
Алло?
Hello?
У твоей мамы такой молодой
Your mom has such a young voice.
Ну
Oh,
да.
yeah, I
Она
mean,
сама молодая.
she is young.
Не мешаю?
Are you busy right now?
Нет, что ты.
No, of course not. If only she knew how costly this conversation could be for me, the risk I took on just answering this call. There were a pen and a shabby notepad laying on the nightstand. I picked them up and started moving the tip of the pen across the paper, producing chaotic doodles that always end up turning into hearts. I've been thinking, I need to tell you something. I froze. Can't be. Does she like me? You've been looking so lost lately. This kid's a really good artist for his age. When I saw you at school today, you were pale like a ghost. I couldn't find my words. My heart was aflutter in anticipation. I wanted to say that I'm on your side. A smile was spreading on my face in anticipation for Polina's next words. And I feel so sorry for you. Good guys like you deserve better. I wanted to believe that you'll find the strength to fight back at some point. Others will stop picking on you. The pen fell out of my weak fingers. Is that all she was going to say? Maybe you'll even find a girlfriend. She sounded as if she was unsure of her own words. Well, just wanted to let you know that you're a nice guy. It was a total failure. Compassion instead of an invitation to hang out. You there? Before I could reply, Olia descended the stairs. Look, just because she was like, you might find a girlfriend, that doesn't mean she wasn't like me. You're preemptively assuming that you fumbled the bag, which you did earlier by just writing Olya and not putting comma my sister. But also at the same time, it's the worst thing that you didn't have things work out with Polina. Because do you want to get stabbed? He was holding some book in a pink cover, Encyclopedia of a Young Lady.
Ты долго еще?
Will you take long? I covered the handset with my
Я
hand.
разговариваю.
I'm in the middle of a conversation.
Что случилось?
What happened?
Почитай мне,
We need a
пожалуйста.
bedtime story, please.
Мама уснула.
Mom fell asleep.
Иди к себе, я
Go to
сейчас.
your room, I'll be there in a minute.
Только быстрее,
Just be
ладно?
quick, okay?
Ладно.
Fine. My last reply sounded excessively annoyed. I sighed, watching my sister running up the stairs.
Алло, Полина?
Hello, Polina?
Прости, мне надо бежать.
Sorry, I need to run.
Представляешь, кое-кто
Can you imagine? There's someone in love with me and he snoops about under my windows, demanding to go on a date with him.
Пойду прогоню его.
I'll go chase him away before Grandpa wakes up. Maybe I should give him a chance. Bit my lower lip in jealousy.
Интересно? Расскажу тебе завтра.
I'll tell you tomorrow if you want. We're friends after all. Well, I mean, fucking calm down, dude. This is why you're single. You got anger issues, kid. Friends, at least you didn't say we're besties. Oh, I'm sorry, is besties for Boughton?
Да, конечно.
Yeah, sure.
Добрый.
Good. The buzzer hammered at my brain. Dirty slut! An angry voice spoke through the teeth in my brain. Like a restless zombie devoid of a consciousness, I dragged my feet up the staircase. Wish I could tell Dad, ask for his manly advice. But he doesn't show up home until late at night because of his new job. My parents don't have time for me, to put it lightly.
Ну, где твоя книжка?
Well, where's your book? I stuttered. The kid's room was empty. Olya? Probably snuck into my room. I walked down the corridor. The room was infested with shadows. The blinds were wavering like there was someone hiding behind them. I smiled, sneaked toward the window, and threw open the curtain. God, I'm gonna get jump scared, aren't I?
Попалась!
Oh. I was expecting more like a TV jump scare than a happy-go-lucky Olga's walking with someone in the woods, which is still pretty terrifying given the circumstances of what's been going on. Gotcha! There's no way behind the cloth. The window was a TV screen showing winter scenery. The lamppost, the field, a couple of walking figures in the middle of it. Alyssa and Olya. I gasped and pressed my fist into my mouth, sinking my teeth into it. Alyssa was leading Olya into the thicket. I needed less than a minute to hurriedly dress and rush out of the house. My heart was beating like a firing machine gun. The wind carried the cold, resinous smell of coniferous trees from the forest. Freezing air crackled somewhere in the field. Two long shadows loomed in front of the gate. I only recognized them as my sister and the fox girl because of their height. I ran toward the fence, listening to the howling wind and the squeaking snow. One of the figures moved and slowly glided toward the thicket like an ice skater. I slowed down and touched my glasses, trying in vain to adjust my vision to the surrounding darkness. Worry landed on my shoulders like a weightless snowflake. A snake woke up in my belly and started writhing. I felt nauseous. I thought about my home and the flimsy fortress I left behind. I finally caught up to my sister, dressed only in a coat.
Оля!
Olya,
Ты видел лисичку?
have you seen the foxy?
Оля, зачем ты
Olya,
вышла на
why'd you
улицу?
go outside?
Если мама
Mom
узнает...
finds out. My sister froze in place, facing the taiga. She was in a hand's reach, and I put my numb wrist on her shoulder for some reason, probably to make sure it wasn't a dream. Fuck, that sound got me. Fuck. God damn. A pointy beak was directed at me, strewn with feathers that formed an owl's face. Yeah, that was, God damn. Something wearing a bird mask was staring at me. Hoot hoot, she won't. The voice sounded exactly like Olya's, but there was somebody else hiding behind the feathers in the carton. I sprinted away as if I got whipped. The masked creature only pretending to be Olya, just to lure me out. I was running like crazy, drowning in snow. The house in front of me was rapidly growing. The yellow light in its windows granted me hope. My mom and sister were there, my salvation. Couldn't hear anything from behind me. If nobody was chasing me, maybe it's because the owls can fly? It's already climbing the porch when I noticed another figure. Hey, it's him again. From the soot black shadow of my house, a scruffy wolf climbed out and stood in my way. Its movements were jerky, chaotic, as if it was performing some terrifying dance, convulsing during a stroke. And even though I could clearly see that the wolf's face was a mask, something in the werewolf's convulsions made me freeze in place. The boy in a wolf's costume rubbed his side against the porch post and fell to his knees. He bent his back so hard I expected his spine to crack. The beast's eyes shone. But he didn't attack. He kept crawling around, running on all fours. I tripped at my feet, my mouth agape, trying to keep him in my line of sight. Something was trickling from the slit in the mask. Viscous drops fell into the wooden planks. Saliva. Some unknown force pushed me in the back, whispering me to save myself. The fence was flashing by at the edge of my vision. I was running in another direction, this time toward the toothy edge of the forest that smelled of pine. My heartbeat measured time. The wolf boy growled behind my back as if he forgot his human nature. Urgh. My right leg got stuck in the snow-laden cavity. I yanked it out, cursing under my breath, and fell to the ground. Plastered snow prevented me from standing up, from propping myself against anything. But my unbound thirst for life helped me get out of that trap. Darkness was creeping closer, like the toxic fumes of burial pyres. I ran again, gasping for the air that stung my throat. My hair swayed in the wind. I lost my hat when I fell down. My ears were now hot from the freezing cold, while most of my body was still sweaty. The field finally ended. After realizing that running in the forest wasn't the smartest decision I could make, I dove into the line of trees. I ran without stopping, my face covered with one of my palms. I didn't want to lose an eye to some random branch. The branches whipped my clothes, pricking my skin like butchers that were herding a pig into the grinder. A knot of roots sprouting from the ground grabbed at my foot. I rammed into the scratching trunk, slid down to its base, and looked around in panic. Ew, you're so fast. First desire was to dash toward her and hug her. I resisted and squeezed myself even tighter into the pine. What are you doing here? This and that. She was holding the hat I lost. Working part-time and lost and found. Put it on, or your ears will freeze and maybe even fall off soon. She giggled. I squinted in suspicion and shifted my gaze back and forth between her and the hat, scared that Alyssa might be holding a severed head or something even more sinister. But then my hat turned out to be just my hat. I took it and pulled it over my forehead. Feeling warmer? It didn't reply. There were some children in the yard. And? Did they bite you or something? No? Then why did you run away? The answer was obvious, but after rolling a thought on my tongue, I mumbled, I don't know. Why did I promise never call you a dunce again? Oh well, I keep my promises. She walked out to me and grabbed me by the elbow. I sensed the familiar aroma of mint, oranges, and burnt sparklers. I wanted to lean into Alice, to savor the minute details of her smell. How many times do I need to tell you? You're safe as long as you're with me. I'm your friend. And they are too. I quickly turned around toward the place the fox girl was pointing to. Kids en masse appeared at the clearing. At least they looked like kids since they were all pretty short. A wolf boy, an owl girl, and a bear boy. They all huffed and gasped for air, clearly tired from running around. I thought you fell through the snow. Started digging around but couldn't find you. And I didn't care enough. You see, if you're dumb, you run around and dig. And if you're smart, you wait until the others get tired of running around and digging. Then you start talking. You're a rat. Degenerate. Huh? Don't mind him, he's a weirdo. Stood there stupefied, my mouth agape and my hands dangling helplessly. I had no idea how to react to the words of these late-night guests. I managed to squeeze out something resembling a smile. You just scared me, that's all. So Hootie was wearing clothes earlier, now Hootie's just in a pure owl costume. They started looking at each other, and somebody even snorted, as if I said something funny. Yes, the foxes are right. He's the one. No, this is our... We finally found him? Funny. Yes, he looks the part. Wolf Boy started wagging a part of his costume like it was his tail in excitement. First. Of course you were first. Wolfie here was the first to sense the bunny in you. He told us about you. Yeah, he ran to our house super fast and then jumped at us.
Здравствуй.
Hello.
С нашей совушкой.
And you've already met our Hootie before. She isn't that scary, is she?
Да, наверное.
Yes.
А этот умничка.
And this smiley big guy's Teddy.
Ты лучше с ним поладь.
Be mindful with him or he'll chew off your head.
Зачем это?
What?
Да.
I see you've also dropped your sense of humor somewhere along the way. I was still unsure if these peculiar little animals had the best intentions in mind, so I hid my hands behind my back, trying to look away from the gaping holes of their carnival masks. Alyssa put her hands to her sides in a theatrical manner, as my managed to wink her fox face. I mean, I'm not surprised she managed to open the mouth all the way earlier.
Когда в следующий раз придем,
The next time we come, we'll ring bells for you. That way you'll be less scared of our visit. Do we even have any bells?
Чур, я злюсь.
I won't be ringing.
У меня
My
лапа
paw hurts.
болит.
Yeah, understandable, it's all bandaged. My smile was no longer fake.
о,
Oh, you showed us your teeth. That's a good sign.
не ожидала, что...
Didn't expect you to find us fun.
Я думала...
I thought it was an emotion reserved strictly to Disneyland. Does she know? Is this Polina? I'm starting to think that this might be Polina.
Откуда ты знаешь?
How'd you know that?
Да так,
I read about it somewhere.
Про меня?
You read about me?
про клюв от воробья.
Aren't you funny? No, about Disneyland, darling. You can read human?
Зря я, что ли, в
Do you
школу
think I've been going to school every day for nothing? And then she's saying in coquettish voice,
Как детей не
where to learn about neglect,
их
where to get your dreams all wrecked. At your local school, of course, and in your classroom.
Она крепко вломит.
Where to hit kids every week, where to prey on all the meek. At your local school, of course, and in your classroom. I let out a cautious laugh. I would be cautious too, considering they've dropped down from the top. That's scary. My new acquaintances didn't seem scary anymore. On the contrary, they looked friendly and welcoming. There was something about them that attracted me. Just like this clearing, this moon, and the snowflakes that fell backwards from the ground to the sky, as if someone were rewinding a tape. The masked kids got close and I felt their touch. They gave me friendly taps, felt my clothes as if checking whether I was real. There's no animalistic malice in their touch, only pure childish curiosity. For some reason I thought to myself, I can trust them. Snowflakes just kept on floating upwards. Nobody will hurt you anymore. Who grinned? Yeah, if somebody even tries to. The fox gave me a slight tug and burst out laughing. Well then, Tosha, will you run away screaming or come with us?
Да.
Where to? To the amusement park. That moment, Tiger's descriptive silence was broken by the sound of a distant flute. Mesmerizing and alluring, it brought about the ring of crystal glass and the whispers of fresh winter spring. If I had any doubts before, the flute's song shattered the last of them. I started following my new friends before I could even make my decision. My legs carried me of their own free will, and the tunnels made of pine stepped apart, brushes bowed in front of our procession. Everything looked dreamlike. Because even the clearing we ended up on I only saw in my dream. The flute soared up in the treetops like some fantastical bird. The snowflakes floated up in a spiral. The moon painted tree branches with silver. Alyssa gasped in amazement. I was also in awe. I tilted my head backwards as far as I could. Hoot, what a sight.
Очень красиво.
So beautiful. Wolfie howled in agreement.
Это мелочи.
This is nothing.
Я покажу,
I can show you much more.
если захочешь.
If you want. Did want. I wanted to see what the fox girl saw with her eyes, hidden in the semi-dark of her cape. Now I didn't feel weird about these masked kids. I felt weird for being the only one without a mask. Felt like I was naked in the January winds.
Скажите, а зачем вам маски?
Why do you wear these masks? I was trembling, but I wasn't scared. My trembling was caused by the cold. It originated from the peculiar anxiousness and anticipation of something amazing. And why do you ask? I touched my cold cheek.
Я без маски.
I'm not wearing one. I love human tails. Human nails? Human fails. I already told you. All the villagers wear masks. It's just you won't find anything human underneath them.
И даже я?
Even me? You're so clumsy, Anton. You've already found your glasses once already. And your hat. And your real face. I looked at the masks the fox was holding out to me. The bunny mask that looked like a silver ingot under the moonlight. I was curious to see the world through its slits. Suddenly fighting its way through the flute's melody, a thought came to me. The glasses they found were in Simeon's possession. My new acquaintances must have known what happened to him. Or even worse.
А куда подевался Семен? Что с ним стало?
Where did Simeon disappear to? What happened to him?
С остальными детьми.
And the other children. Bear and the owl looked at each other. The wolf boy curled into a ball. The fox lowered the pointy nose of her mask. The one who was kept in a cage. The one who cuts into little pieces. The one who wears the skin face took them. If I knew how to cross myself, I'd do it.
Хотите сказать, это был человек?
You're saying it was a human? Even listening to us? How can you call someone like him human? There's just one word for him. An adult. It's so easy to get lost in the adult world. Killers, cruel, animal trainers, the cold parents. If you don't want to get sad, better not to think about them. I don't know about you, but I definitely don't want to be sad. Somehow I'm not sad today. What about you, Anton? Huh? I was lost in thought, staring at the pines, trying to pinpoint the location of the flute. I was sure the person who played it was standing right behind the piney stockade. Someone tall, going over the holes in the flute with their long fingers. Well now, we're gonna sit and be sad or have some fun.
Алиса хотела что-то
Melissa
показать.
wanted to show me something. Let's start with the sweet stuff. The fox girl took out a handful of candy from her pocket and handed them to each of the kids. Covers shuffled and the smell of pineapple, cocoa, and melon wafted through the air. It's just weird looking. The last treat, a chocolate-covered waffle candy, Melissa put right into my mouth. My tongue was engulfed in spiciness. Felt like my body was covered in fur and small sparks were running through it. I chewed on the waffle and the chocolate, gulped them down, enjoying the vivid taste.
Спасибо.
Thanks. My gratitude was barely audible because my lips were already touching the insides of a mask. Didn't even notice how I put it against my face. The paper mache was warm. The mask stuck to my skin, giving it a nice prickle. The kind when you dive into a hot bath after being outside in winter, when you lie there and purr from the soapy water. See, I told you, this is yours.
Мое.
Mine. What are you waiting for? The phone won't have itself. I'm sorry, is there a way to, like, back check that? No? Wait, backlog. Because it looked like Hootie tried to say something. The melody kept swelling like a field in a hurricane. Okay. Yeah, that's Caroline. Okay, they just shuffled Hootie for some reason. I couldn't wait to release the energy, the heat that this enchanting music was filling me with. Oh, Al jumped and disappeared into the sky. I heard her laughter from somewhere above and she leaned back, huffing and sighing.
Можешь. Попробуй.
You can do it too. Give it a try. I followed suit. Oh my god, color! I tore my feet from the ground, flew toward the stars like a rocket, and screamed from happiness after seeing my friends down below. The wind helped me fly. It felt like I was jumping on a huge trampoline. Stars looked like vivid sparkles I could reach and look up. The moon also got closer, and then I plunged. I got scared that I'd break my legs for a moment, but my soul landed softly on the ground, and I regained my balance.
Безопасности.
You're safe with us,
И все твои
and all your
мечты
dreams will come
сбудутся.
true.
Я так счастлива
So happy that I
увидеть
finally found
тебя,
you,
зайчик.
Bunny. In a fit of merry laughter, I realized the most important thing. These four are not a threat. My real enemies. I felt that with every single hair on my mask, were those who knew nothing about magic. Humans from the village. I also realized how alive my surroundings have become. I heard the dry grass under the snow moan. I saw faces of the trees and the stars. The trees were smirking and the stars were grimacing in fear. That's right, be scared. I'll jump up to you and... I snapped my teeth and let out a jubilant laugh, jumping up along with the fox. He flew higher than the tallest pines and stayed in the air. I swirled, Alyssa following my rhythm. I knew that she was smiling, so I smiled too. And then the flute just kept on playing, carrying us higher and higher.
Эй,
Hey,
тебя что,
someone put a
заколдовали?
spell on you? That someone is standing next to me, I thought, trying to unglue my chin from the desk. My muscles felt slightly sore, but that feeling was pleasant. The whole class was wandering around for some reason, whispering and passing notes to each other. Their faces looked like discolored masks to me, bleak and boring. I yawned, remembering the time I was soaring above the forest with Alyssa by my side, laughing and squeezing my hand. Perhaps, no, probably, it was all just a dream. Because I didn't walk back from the forest, just woke up in my bed on a normal morning with tea and medicine. Still, I was hardly worried about trying to find a rational explanation for my night dance. That feeling of flight was much more important. The knowledge of how it feels to be hanging in the air above the treetops of majestic pines and baring my teeth at the moon. Oh, someone else is missing.
Прости, задумался.
Sorry, I got lost in thought.
Слышал уже про Катю?
Have you heard about Katya? Oh, Katya's missing.
А?
Huh? I glanced at the empty seat in front of
Катя
me.
пропала.
Katya went missing. My sleepiness was gone in an instant. I frowned in suspicion.
Как пропала?
What do you mean? It can't be. Katya Smirnova, 12 years old, grade 6B, was last seen during the day on January 23rd at the schoolyard. Identifying features: 155 centimeters tall, green eyes, light brown hair, lean build. She was dressed in a fur hooded coat, a knitted hat with a pom pom, a white scarf, and gloves. Special identifying features: wears a strawberry themed scrunchie. If anybody has information on Katya's whereabouts, call the following numbers: police or Katya's mother. Okay, gonna take a small break real fast. Let me put on some music. Let's go with we're gonna go with Pascal.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Okay, I'm back. Had to just notice the toilet on screen. Don't know that actually took me forever to draw. For whatever reason, I had so much trouble drawing that toilet. I think that's probably like my eighth attempt at drawing that toilet. That was finally like, okay, this is good enough.
Я сама не поверила, но Лилия Павловна на работу не вышла.
Also, I did take my time. Cause yeah, I missed breakfast and I was like, ooh, I can feel myself getting jittery. I need to eat something. Uh, so I believe that this is the most current chapter. Uh, in which case it will be just like uh, Bunny Graveyard and Scarlet Hollow, in that we'll just have to wait for the next chapter to come out before we can continue it. Couldn't believe it at first, but Lilia Pavlovna didn't come to work today.
Контрольная отменяется.
The test is off. I remember Katya. She was both beautiful and mean. Katya, the first girl in her class whose body started maturing to the envy of all the other female students. The main source of gossip, a snake, and a bitch. I continued scribbling in my notebook, drawing rows of pines and two small figures flying between the treetops in the full moon. Shivers ran up to my shoulders, sneaking playfully under the hem of my shirt. I mean, he could be wearing a skirt too. I don't know. I'm not gonna judge. Even though soaring through the sky felt so simple, there was still something evil weighing me down. You know, kudos to him for getting it as close as he did to like the body and stuff. Because usually, like when you do that, it becomes like this really thick outline around it, and then this is clearly just not as thick. But he managed to do it very well. The culprit was They were definitely still in the village. They were hiding something horrible under a mask of piousness.
А что ты рисуешь?
What are you drawing? Embarrassed, I covered the notebook as if there was something shameful about the figures above the forest.
Да ничего.
Nothing really, just fooling around. Helena put her elbows on the desk. I mean, she didn't. She put her hand on the desk. You lied, game. I'd already forgotten how light and graceful she was, just like a violin. Can we pan over the camera this way real fast? I want to see if we're gonna get stabbed after class. The anger and rage that boiled inside me yesterday during a phone call subsided. Hid in a hole. I just couldn't stay mad at Polina. I wish she could also jump around with us after stripping away her mask of fake mundanity. I smiled, imagining Polina's skirt flapping in the wind, with stars sparkling all around us, or asking in bewilderment whether it was all a dream. And myself telling her that doesn't matter. Polina's expression grew dark again.
Ужасно еще и то, что Катю мне жалеть
It's also
снова.
tragic that I find it difficult to empathize with her.
Я правда ищу
I
все
tried so
стороны.
hard, but then I remembered all her nasty deeds and... Polina shook her head.
Я чудовище, да?
I'm a monster, aren't I? No, I thought. You're one of the most beautiful girls I've ever met. But alas, you're only number 2 on that list. He's become a furry. I decided not to say that out loud.
Плохо, наверное, что еще
It's not okay that I felt worse when I lost my questionnaire than when she went missing. My nostrils picked up the smell of candy, tree resin,
Ты
fireworks.
потеряла анкету?
You lost your questionnaire?
Да. И кто-то
Yes,
сейчас
somebody out there is
читает
reading other people's secrets now. Yes, the forest, I thought, imagining the crooked branches turning notebook pages, touching the childish handwriting with their icy twigs.
Надеюсь, ее найдут.
I hope the search goes well. I was unsure whether she spoke about Katya or her notebook. I wanted to ask her about it. Then I noticed Polina's intense stare directed at me.
Что?
What?
Ты будто изменилась.
You've changed. I smoothed my hair flat, surprised.
Просто не выспался.
I just didn't sleep well tonight.
Сегодня ты точно какая-то другая мелодия.
Didn't sleep well last night.
Длинная, таинственная.
You're a different melody today. Some mysterious ancient tune. I thought about the flute's melody streaming between the bushy treetops.
Надеюсь, ты никому не
I hope
рассказала
you haven't
про
told
наш
anyone
вчерашний
about our
разговор?
chat yesterday.
Что ты?
Of course not. She nodded as if acknowledging that she can fully trust me. I was unsure whether I merited such trust. Her hair cascaded down around her shoulders. The smell was so wonderful that it sent me flying toward the glowing stars of my inner cosmos without any magic. Yasha jumped at me like a jack-in-the-box and yelled in my ear. Oh, hold on, I just realized I forgot to put on my glasses. I took them off during the break and just forgot to put them back on. Looky! Having a lovey-dovey time, eh?
Ты чё, очкарик?
Hey,
Вали
Four
на
Eyes, you trying to pick up Polina? Polina came to my help even though I didn't ask her to. Maybe I did with my entire appearance.
Что за глупости?
What's this nonsense? We're just friends.
Твоя подружка, значит?
Is he your girlfriend then?
Вместе
Do you
заплатишь.
go buy dresses together with this little loser? We're just gonna replace words.
Никакой он не пи.
He's not a loser. Leave Petrov alone. I need to do something, but I just sat there, clutching the edge of my desk. Romka gave me a deriding snort. The girl saved you, ugly face. I'll let you live. For now. My enemies left the classroom, guffawing. Polina showed me a sad smile.
Будь сильным.
Be strong. I wanted to scream that I couldn't. Couldn't be strong and stand up against these bastards. Couldn't stand up for myself or anyone else. Pathetic. I wanted to disappear into the forest, dig myself into the snow. I wanted to go home, get under my blanket, far away from humans. Lena left, and the thought that were terrorizing me finally made me weep. I stayed late after school again to escape Romka's ire for my rash act of talking to Polina, which meant I had to drag my feet toward home in the twilight. Bored school janitor scraped his shovel against the asphalt, and the upperclassmen blew out smoke that formed clouds similar to dialogue bubbles in comics. I wanted to fill those bubbles with friendly words. There was nothing friendly about the icy stares those guys gave me. I was leaving the unpleasant world of stale buns and nasty insults. Someone shoved me near the stairs. Didn't their parents teach them to apologize? I crossed the village and slowed my pace near the bridge. I turned my head around, looking for my fox friend, but neither she nor my other new friends could be seen anywhere. I was met with the silent forest. I felt like a crouching predator pretending to be asleep. It still watched me with one eye from under half-closed eyelids, and I walked through it, my fingers gripping the backpack straps, looking at my feet through a pair of glasses. Katya, Katya. Once again, black shadows flashed among the naked trees, shouting the name of a girl who was most likely already dead over and over. The sunset fizzled over the pine tops like a flame from a gas burner set to a minimum. I walked forward, trying to hide my head and my shoulders, avoiding the sight of the crooked trees. The house was a dark stain on the white snowy blanket. The door was open and swayed slightly in the wind. I felt like my skin was getting covered in rime. I clenched my fists. Darkness oozed into the hallway and snowflakes floated inside along with it, landing softly on the rug, like a pack of vultures that sensed their food. I stepped into the doorway with the utmost caution. For a moment I thought I heard someone talking in the kitchen, but it turned out to be a radio broadcast. The previously mentioned cyclone is getting even closer to the region. The official forecast for tomorrow suggests gusts of winds reaching up to 70 kilometers per hour. Americom of Russia has called on citizens to exercise extreme caution. The roads are closed off, the cold air streams coming from the Arctic are bringing massive blizzards. I heard voices coming from the upper floor, too. The staircase let out a long squeak. I took one step, yet my heart managed to beat 6 or 7 times in the meantime. The door to my parents' bedroom was ajar. A shadow play unfolded inside a light spot. Black silhouettes were performing a dance of hatred. Mom hissed at Dad, her wrists flying toward the ceiling, and he towered over her, his hands crossed on his huge chest. We're all in danger, and it's your fault. Stop lying. You saw him in the village. He found out where we live. It wasn't him. I've read about the things your buddies are capable of in the newspapers. I ran toward my bedroom. Our parents were in the middle of another quarrel where they showered each other with mutual accusations. Dad let out a low, beast-like roar. Make them stop. Molly stood in the corridor, pressing her little palms against her ears. Her face, swollen from crying, made my skin freeze. What happened? Going to divorce. I hugged my sister and held her tight. My tongue refused to listen to my commands, to look for excuses. It felt like the screams were coming from every direction, right and left, up and down, splitting my head apart. Swear words rained down on us, so we covered our heads with our hands like refugees running from a bombing. I want to escape. To your room? No, far away. Lead me to Neverland, you promised. I carefully unglued Olia's hands from her ears and led her away from the room with her parents, which was vibrating with malice. Your fault. For whom? Your own, and only your own. I would never. In moments like these, I despised them more than they despised each other. I bolted down the door to my room and leaned against it. My knees gave way. Look, Olia, I also hate it here. At least you can go to school. I let out a sad laugh.
Школа кошмар.
School is one big nightmare. Everyone hates me.
Только одна девочка надо мной не
There's only this one girl who isn't making fun of me. She takes pity on me instead. Like I'm a beaten dog. You're not a dog. You...
Я не понимаю,
I
кто
don't know
вы,
who I am anymore.
но там снаружи
But
ничего
the
не
outside
лучше,
world's
чем
clearly
дома.
no better than our home.
Где же лучше? Давай
Do you
пойдем
know a
туда.
better place? Let's go there. We'll fly or swim.
Если б можно
If
было,
only we could do that.
я бы
I
всё
would have
на свете
sacrificed
отдала,
everything to
уйти и
escape and
забрать
take you
тебя с
with
собой.
me. Leia's upper lip trembled. Swear? I put on a bitter smile.
Чтоб не
On my
умереть.
own life. Something hit the window's ledge on the outside. I shuddered and shifted her gaze toward it. Bam! Another snowball smacked the window's frame.
Ты ждешь кого-то?
Are you expecting someone? I didn't reply. Instead, I let go of her wrist. Olia wept in fear. Across the room, wincing from every shout coming from my parents. I could hear plates getting smashed now. They must have moved their argument to the kitchen. That's our friends! I flung the curtains and the window open. Hooty, Teddy, Wolfie, and most importantly, the charming Alyssa stood outside waving at us. Olia gasped in surprise when she saw the owl girl.
Я же говорю,
See, I told you.
Да, знаю.
Yeah, I know. I
Проверь.
always believed you.
кто они.
Who are they? Fearful voice also had some curiosity mixed in. Only the most boring children sit at home in weather like this. We'll have so many games to play, Hoot. Well, let's not play all of them. My paw hurts. We'll play a little, then rest. Friends! Come on, come out and play and dance. Heart started beating faster since I saw Alyssa, and my inner voice practically screamed, She's here, she's finally here.
Они знают, как попасть.
They know the way to Neverland? I entertained that possibility looking at the animal kids.
Может быть.
Maybe.
пойдем и
Let's
узнаем.
go find out. Silhouettes of my forest friends promised to free us from sadness, anger, and nightly horrors. Made sure that Olia wore warm clothes. Like a little bunny on her hat. Mom barked at Dad like a wild beast from the show Nikolai Drozdov. With Nikolai Drozdov. Oh, whoops. Accidentally missed it. There we go. Nikolai Drozdov, Soviet and Russian zoologist, traveler, and popular science advocate, and a TV host featuring in the Inside the Animal Kingdom program. He is famous for his infectious optimism and overwhelmingly empathetic attitude towards animals. So Steve Irwin. We sneaked past the rumbling kitchen and into the snowfall outside. Melissa ran up to me and hugged me tight, poking her cold nose into my neck.
Как же долго.
You took so long.
Мы вас
We almost got old waiting for you shut-ins. She pressed her body into me even harder. Turns out waiting is so tiring. Ew, give me a minute to catch my breath. I was preparing to leave for a long time once, Hoot Hoot. When I was done, I forgot where I was supposed to go. Olia looked at the owl with suspicion. But she giggled when the bird did a backflip and landed perfectly on her feet without staggering. All the other animals, as if on cue, stopped fooling around and stared at Olia in amazement. That's the girl who didn't want to become friends.
Меня зовут...
My name is Olia.
Раньше я...
I was afraid of you.
Просто
Before.
боялась. Тебя испугала...
Were you afraid of our Hootie? Maybe she has owlphobia. Can you cure that?
Главное, чтобы...
Doesn't matter as long as she's not afraid of having fun.
Иначе с нами может...
Or she might get scared to death of us. I was stunned at the realization that my lips were slowly forming a smile. Every time I met Alyssa, it felt like I crossed a river. The sound of flowing water suppressed all of my negative thoughts.
Какие у
Your
вас
costumes are so pretty. The fox girl let go of me and squatted beside Olya.
О, какая
My, what a
красивая.
cutie.
Антоша,
Why did you hide such a cute creature from us
его
before?
создание раньше.
I glanced at the house, worried that our parents might have seen us and were about to ruin our fun like they always do. Then hugged my sister and replied,
Давайте отойдем подальше.
Let's get further away from here.
Запросто.
Sure thing.
Оля, а
Hey,
ты знаешь,
Olya,
как найти
do you know how to find Grandpa Frost in our forest? Grandpa Frost, dead morose. A legendary figure similar to Santa Claus, hailing from the Slavic mythology. He is often depicted wearing a heel-length fur coat, in red or blue, a semi-rounded fur hat, and a pair of Russian traditional winter footwear, Valinki. His face is adorned by a long white beard, and he walks with a long magic stick. He is said to bring presents to well-behaving children on the New Year's Eve. My little sister's eyes widened. How?
Нужно идти.
You need to follow the sweet trail. Lissa bent down and took a candy out of the snow. Olya raised her hands in amazement. She gave me an inquiring look, and I nodded. My sister munched on the candy. Hey, do we Hoot Hoot have Grandpa Frost in our forest? Why, Hoot Hoot, didn't you tell me?
Я рассказывала.
I did, this afternoon. But I sleep during the day.
Ага.
Right? I told you while you were sleeping. Lissa dashed away, wiggling her red tail like a torch's flame. Olya went after her without thinking and laughed after taking another candy out of a snow pile.
Вы такие
You're so
бодрые.
lively, it makes me sick to my stomach.
А ты давай не зевай.
And you stop being so passive.
Лучше беги с нами.
Run with us to Grandpa Frost while there are still peasants left.
Скажешь,
No way.
скорее уж
I
мне
won't
надо
believe the
всё
fox's
это
tails unless
всё
10 pounds of sweets drop on my head right now. When the aforementioned sweets started raining down on the bear's head, I couldn't stop myself from laughing at him, ouching and bobbing his head up and down. Tasty treats glistened in the snow. Eddie sneezed and pulled a little bear in the north candy out of his ear. Take an hour-long nap and then count all these chocolates.
У меня такое
I suspect there are
подозрение.
no more than 3 pounds here. Melissa shouted at us from the other side of the forest. Maybe in another life. Hurry up! Grandpa Frost is already tired of waiting for you in his castle. I shrugged and ran, running loosened the grip of fear I felt at this time. Something round whizzed past my temple. I decided it was a snowball, but then Olya proclaimed, Zephyr! A type of soft confectionery popular in post-Soviet countries. Made by whipping fruit and berry puree with sugar and egg whites, with subsequent addition of a gelling agent. Its chocolate-coated variant shares the same family of treats with American Malomars, German Schokokus, and Iranian Bastani Zimistani.
Не подбирай, он
Don't
испачкается.
pick it up, it's dirty.
Ты что?
Huh? Do you believe in microbes?
А ты нет?
And you don't?
Раньше
You used to. Graceful rows of colossal pines greeted us with their rustling paws. Snow drifted upwards into the endless black sky, just like last time. Snow piles lighted up like melted silver. So pretty. I thought the forest was scary.
Нас родители.
Parents told us scary stories of the forest, owl, and snow.
Ну а мы с
But we weren't one bit worried, playing with her when moon glows. Did my best to keep track of Olya's movements. It was a difficult task. My sister would jump inside bushes, picking up more candy, only to then get back to the trail laughing. Hootie flew over our heads, landed on a branch, started hooting and shaking her head. Wolfie dug into the snow with his face, dragged out a pile of bubblegum, and swallowed it without taking off the wrapping. Your tummy will hurt. The wolf got scared and spat out the gumball. Lies, 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 nasty flies. Tummy aches don't exist. All that nonsense only happens to grown-ups. Melissa stopped in her tracks and moved a canopy of intertwined branches to the side in a pompous manner, like you would open the curtains in theater. Behind that obstacle lay a clearing. There stood an ice castle glistening with silver. Is this real? Should I punch you? Sorry, pinch you. I read as punch. Should I pinch you?
Не надо ее щипать.
There's no need to pinch her. I stared at the sparkling miracle. Its towers and walls were made of snow and icy marble. I heard a calming sound of ringing little bells. There was also the smell of chocolate and burnt sugar in the air. Welcome to our humble abode. Come on in. She didn't have to invite us twice. We entered the castle, spinning around and squinting from the blinding sparkles. Grandpa Frost sat atop a shiny throne. Puffy Pom-Pom swung atop the two peaks of his hat. A snow-white beard covered his kind smile. He looked just like I imagined him back in the day when I still believed in Mom's fairy tales. Tall, strong, and hairy, radiating frost and warmth at the same time. And his voice, low and syrupy, enveloped me like the smoke of a festive bonfire. Anton and Olga, you probably got tired while getting here, my dear children. Oh no, Grandpa, we got here really fast. My sister spoke with the castle's master like she never spoke with adults, in a lively, carefree manner, as if they were the same age. Of course, I know all about it. I have a lot of friends. They tell me everything. If you're diligent all year, I will bring you gifts, my dear. If you're lazy and upset, please forgive this kind old man. Candy won't encounter lazy bones and downers. I'm not lazy. This too, I know. He gave us a long, evaluating look. His real face was hidden under the Grandpa Frost mask. I was just standing there, unblinking, my gaze glued to the old man. I could accept children living in the forest, and fantastical jumps toward the moon. But seeing Grandpa Frost and his frozen castle left me completely speechless. I have something special for you two. A sack appeared in his giant hand. My nostrils got attacked by the aroma of cocoa, halva, and tangerines. A confectionery that originated from Persia, usually consisting of a thick paste made from flour, butter, liquid oil, saffron, rosewater, milk, cocoa powder, and sweetened with sugar. Thank you, but we've already eaten some candy. Grandpa Frost pierced me with his eyes. Ho ho ho! You call that candy? That was nothing. My candy is special, straight from Neverland. Ho ho ho! From Neverland? I'd give them to you right away. You clearly deserve them. But rules are rules. You need to solve 3 of Grandpa's riddles. Want to try? I tried splitting my parched lips apart, but Olya was first to reply. Yeah. Here comes the first one. It's a home for cars and all sorts of tires. I looked around at the masked children. They stood without moving in the corners, where the shadows danced on the walls. I heard a low hum, and in my confusion, that was the sound of rumbling stomachs. A garage. Correct. Now, on to the second one. You try to solve it too, Anton. All day long to the shadows they belong. They rattle the plates and hiss at their mates. Okay. All day long to the shadows they belong. They rattle the plates and hiss at their mates. I mean, long shot, but I want to say cutlery, because normally it's in a drawer. They make, they're used on plates, they clink on it. And then if you rub them together, they make a terrible sound. Eyebrows shot up and confusing.
Mama?
Moms? Olia raised her hand. Can I? It's a kitty.
Верно. Осталась последняя загадка и
Hold on.
подарки ваши.
Backlog. All day long to the shadows they belong. Okay, because they're at nighttime. They rattle the plates and hiss at their mates up. Because they dig around in garbage and stuff. Okay. Correct. Ho ho ho. Here's the last one. Solve it and the gifts are yours. Oh, but what a stroke of bad luck, my dear children. Completely forgot what that riddle was about. Maybe our little animal friends can help us. Children in costumes surrounded us, laughing and stomping, only to start spinning in a crazed roundelay that somewhat reminded me of the dance under the window on that fateful night. Grandpa Frost sits on his throne. At the kids, he's smiling back. Please don't make them wait too long. Come and open your old sack. Grandpa Frost burst out laughing, satisfied. Okay, you proved yourself to this old man. Here you go. He scattered a mountain of sweets from his scarlet sack, some of which I'd never seen in commercials before. Snickers and Milky Ways. Bubblegum of all shapes and colors with tasty aromas and inserts sticking out. Twix. Kinder eggs. Kinder Surprise eggs. Banana. Granted, I know, like, in a lot of countries, granted, it also used to be in the US, it's just not as much of a thing now. Fruit was a big gift because they normally spoiled, they weren't, you couldn't get oranges all year round, a good while ago, so you had to, like, do a certain thing. They were like a really nice treat kind of thing. Like they weren't a normal thing to have during the winter time. Lollipops the size of fists and tangerines the size of Olia's head. Also Snickers, Mars, Bounty bars, and Kinder Surprise eggs that we haven't eaten for so long already. Oh, thank you. I wiped away the tears of joy with my sleeve when my inner voice persuaded me to get rid of all doubts. This is exactly what I wanted for my sister and myself. The true Neverland, without bullying and taboos. We're finally going to be happy. Grandpa Frost straightened up as he left his throne and threw his hands in the air over the treats. Animals that stood to his sides also raised their paws. Their eyes sparkled brighter than precious gems. The wolf's maw was wet with saliva. Feast, my children! Animal kids rushed to devour the candy one by one, pushing each other and growling. Their faces were smeared with something dark. Olia grabbed the closest candy and tore off the wrapper. I mean, it's not like there's a refuse, so... Except... I fished out the most tasty-looking candy from the pile of sweets on the floor. Then I took a bite. Chocolate melted in my mouth. I applaud your bold decision. Now it's time for you to play. I will grant your deepest wishes. Let me lighten up your day. Anton, look! My sister's face was smeared in chocolate, and I was about to reprimand her. The words got stuck in my throat. A giant tree. A giant spruce shot toward the stars and disappeared somewhere in outer space, crowned by a giant moon. Giant balls shined in on its branches, garlands of lights gleamed with all the colors of the rainbow. The roof disappeared and myriads of constellations sprawled on the night sky above us. Music, laughter, the smell of evergreen and sweets. And Teddy, Wolfie, and Hootie dancing beside us. And the snowflakes floating backwards. I burst out laughing, touched the bushy golden tinsel. It was all real. Is that it? Are you talking about Neverland by any chance? Is this Neverland? Melissa performed a theatric bow. Christmas balls gleamed and shimmered, and my soul shimmered in unison with them. I was becoming the magic winter forest, the soft evergreen, all of the constellations at the same time. Welcome home. This is where my home always was. The snow sparkled, almost blinding me. Olia started spinning in a dance. She grabbed a candy with each of her hands. Wolfie juggled Kinder Surprised eggs. Did you see that? Consoles, handheld games, dolls, and Transformer figures lay under the spruce as if they were brought here by trucks. Is this for us? I realized I was almost dancing, so I replied while moving. It's a bit too much for just the two of us. I'd share with somebody, and what do you think? Only if it's somebody nice. A group of children stood at the edge of the wood, their enchanted gazes directed at our celebration. Hey! I jumped across the whole clearing and glided to the ground near them. Want to come to us? Can we? Of course. Kids took each other by the hand, and I led the procession toward the gifts. There's no better feeling than leading someone on the road to their dreams. The holiday party was finally in full swing. And every holiday, just like in A Beautiful Apple, always sat a nasty little worm called transience. Yet here, under the bristly paws of a magnificent spruce, holidays never ended. Are you happy, Tosha? Damn! Up in the sky, majestic fireworks went off, illuminating the dancing figures. My eyes wetted, my muscles sprang up. I tilted my head backward to look at the moon and screamed at the top of my lungs from overflowing emotion. Are you happy, Bunny? It jumped toward the stars and did a flip. All of Neverland could hear my scream. I am happy! For the first time in the long days I'd spent in the new house, I woke up with a smile on my face. This time, happiness had a tight grip on me. I stretched, enjoying the sweet sensation of every cell of my body. Outside, I could hear the joyful chirping of beautiful red-chested bullfinches who celebrated the bright January sun. Their chirping granted me hope that the naked forest outside my window would someday turn into a lush paradise for my parents and my little sister. The corridor was filled with dog barks and the patter of tiny feet. The door to my bedroom flew open, greeting me with a warm breeze and the aroma of freshly made coffee. Olia stood in the doorway, shining with happiness, holding the cute Zulka, who wiggled both her body and her tail. Look, Tosha! Look, Papa said he can stay! Tears of joy formed in my little sister's eyes. I have my own dog now! I couldn't help but jump up from the bed hearing this wonderful news. Zulka! Zulka! No, her name is Princess.
Да, ваше высочество?
Right, Your Highness? The dog barked in agreement. Knock knock, can I come in? To my complete surprise, Dad stepped through the doorway smiling and hugging Mom. It was outright bizarre. What do you think of our new family member? This idiot threw herself under my car. I barely avoided her. I got my car scratched, thought I'd choke her with my own two hands. Then I looked into her and looked her in the eye, and there I saw, how should I put it,
Умные.
intelligence. Yeah, and the poor thing was shaking all over. And I said, all right, you managed to make it home without soiling my seats, I'll let you stay.
Принцессы не
Princess can't soil anything. We laughed in unison, just like in the good old days, when every little thing could easily make us burst out laughing.
Чего замолчал? Давай,
Oh,
продолжай.
why'd you stop? Continue with your stories. Mom gave Dad a cunning look and he turned away, red as a beet. They were acting like total kids. There's more good news. Dad got a promotion. I shouldn't exactly be happy about it since the chief accountant went missing and all. But you know, for us it's a silver lining.
Это значит, тебя чаще
Does
не
that
будет
mean
дома?
he'll be away from home more?
Это значит двойную надбавку.
That means double the bonuses. That's right, Karina. Which means you all should prepare for a family trip next week. My heart started beating faster after those words. Where? I even loosened her grip on the stray. Just dropping the dog like a sack of bricks. Oh, are we going to McDonald's? Come on, Olya. Aim higher. We've been planning this trip for a long time, but something always messed it up.
Вы уж простите нас, ребят.
So sorry about that, kids. Mom wiped away a tear with her fist. It's okay, Karina. Now it's all in the past. Anyway, gather your things. We're flying to Disneyland. My sister and I jumped up to the ceiling with joy. The dog also got excited from the passionate speech and joined us. Hooray! Disneyland! Disneyland! Her jubilant screams filled the house, rushed through the attic and the drain pipes, flew across the front yard and sneaked into the shining white forest, taking the scary D word away with it. I swore that I'll remember this day forever, the day when my parents finally dropped their derisive masks, and underneath them were the faces of parents we always knew and loved. Lilia Pavlovna still hadn't returned to school after Katya went missing, so today I was able to get a good night's sleep and went to school when it was already bright outside. The trail led to a snow-white plain with blackened houses in the background. They pumped out gray smoke that carried the smell of birch and pine logs. The freezing cold of the night had finally let up. It fell into slumber under the early sunlight. Ice sparkles peered on the white caps atop the houses. I stopped, confident that nobody could spoil my good mood today. Not even my personal tormentor, Pyatrofanov, or his nasty crony, Byasha. Not even the shining knife that threatened to cut me up like a dead fish. Not even the mix of disdain and pity in Polina's rare glances. All of that was left in the past, forgotten like a bad dream. All of that was gone forever. The cow let out a long moo somewhere in the distance. I fell out of my fleeting daydream and walked forward, crunching with the snow under my soles. Fluffy clouds floated above my head. I recognized the friendly shapes of animal kids in them. Suddenly, a snowball landed on the back of my head. Girlish laughter there reminded me of a small ringing bell, and the spring breeze tickled my ears. Turned around, expecting to see her, my lovely guide into the dream world, my dear Alyssa. Yet instead of a fox girl, Polina stood on the trodden path behind me, her faithful violin cased in her hand.
Опять Петров ворон считает?
Got your head in the clouds again, huh, Petrov? She lunged at me with contagious laughter, locking her arms around my neck. Just stood there in awe, drowning in the sweet aroma of her perfume.
Что с тобой?
Did something happen? She flashed me an embarrassed smile. I saw her cornflower eyes gleam.
Дедушка мой,
Grandpa, he
он снова может
can walk
ходить,
again. Can you
представляете?
believe it?
В это даже сильнее
The local
поразило
doctor
меня.
had no
Он
faith in
будто
him,
назло ему
but it's like
стал
he
похож.
stood up and started walking just to spite him.
О, это
Oh,
самый
this is the
счастливый
happiest day of my
Антон.
life, Anton. She dug her face deep into my chest, tightened her grip on my neck as if I was more than just a friend to her. I stared, looking around, anxious. Oh, Polina, somebody could see us.
Из-за
Are you
пятифазовых
worried about
испытаний.
Pyatovnov?
Брось ты это дело.
When you're worried for nothing, then you're worried for nothing. It's not been seen for a while. I cautiously parted with Polina, trying to understand whether it's some sort of prank or the truth.
Но ты чего, не
Wait,
веришь,
you
что
don't
ли?
believe me?
К нам вчера
That
буквально
officer,
ночью
Lieutenant
старший лейтенант
Ivanov,
Тихонов приезжал.
came to our house just last night.
Так и так,
He
я
said that
всегда
Biasha,
думала,
along with
что
his
с ним
buddy
ужасно.
Ronka, went missing. A group of skiers glided past us straight into the forest. Lena leaned into my ear, sharing a whisper with me, her eyes still locked on the skiers.
Как я поняла, во всех
As
этих
far as I know, Tikhonov suspects that all the previous cases were Pyatovnov's fault.
Да ладно.
No way.
Я сама в
I
шоке.
was shocked myself.
По слухам, у Ромки
There are rumors that Romka, well,
совсем шарики
went off the
заводятся.
deep end.
Ну, я, в принципе,
I
не
mean, I'm
удивлена.
not exactly surprised to hear that.
Что ты имеешь в
What do
виду?
you mean?
А ты не знал?
Haven't you heard?
Он из
It's
проблемной
from a
семьи.
very troubled family.
Даже думать не хочу, что творилось.
I don't even want to imagine what he'd been going through, what had been going on what had been going on in their home. Romka always seemed excessively aggressive to me, always angry at everyone without a good reason. Now, the darkness that he harbored within overflowed into the outside world and led multiple small innocent souls to their demise, as well as his own. It was hard to believe, but for the first time I laid my eyes on Romka, I thought that things would end this way.
Пойдем скорее, а то
Let's
опоздаем.
move, or we're gonna be late. Polina grabbed my hand and started running along the village road, accompanied by joyful laughter. With every step, every laugh, and every joke, the warmth I thought I'd forgotten enveloped my heart more and more. The all-consuming feeling of love in the air came back to me, this time for good, it seemed. I tried letting go of Polina's hand near the classroom entrance, embarrassed that our classmates might taunt us. But it was as if Polina didn't care at all. She only gripped my palm even harder while opening the door. And she was right. Now that the cunning Katya, the heartless Romka, and the sneering Biasha were gone, our class looked as if it was sanitized from parasites, became friendlier and kinder. Didn't get looks overflowing with hatred anymore. There's nobody to spread a ball of chewed paper at me through an empty shell of a ball pen. I sat at my lonely desk when Polina joined me. I wasn't surprised at all. She was so charming that I could call her my muse. A wave of inspiration hit me. I couldn't help but pull my sketchbook out of my bag. I licked my pencil lead, my eyes glued to my model. She smiled at me again.
Что ты задумал?
What's on your mind?
Спокойствие.
No worries, a professional at work here. I drafted the shapes of her mesmerizing figure.
Знаешь,
No, I've watched you from here often. She glanced at her former desk, then fixed a strand of hair behind her in embarrassment.
Правда?
Really? I outlined her cute cheeks with multiple wide lines. I like how it said I added more lines and then it just erased lines. It was the first time I was able to grasp somebody's proportions so precisely.
Полина,
Lena.
Что?
Yes, Anton? She froze in place, afraid of disrupting my work with one wrong move and dispelling the magic of the moment.
наклонись, пожалуйста.
Lean a bit more, please.
Вот так, да.
Yes, like this. Good. Choking from anxiousness, Polina loosened the knot on her neckerchief.
Я всегда хотел тебя
Always wanted to
нарисовать.
draw you. Our eyes met.
О,
Oh, Anton.
он.
My pencil slid across the paper furiously, adding the shading to her chest.
Скажи,
Say, would you like to become the main heroine in my comic? Pleasant shivers ran across her body. She rolled her eyes back, enraptured. Yes. I've been waiting for you to ask, darling. The lead couldn't endure all of the tension, cracked, bursting to a million tiny pieces. I couldn't believe my eyes when I looked at the drawing. Looking at a terrible daub in the place where Polina's face was just a second ago now rested some sort of formless mess. It took me some time to realize that I was sitting alone in an empty classroom, with only the specks of dust flying in the moonlight as my company. It was dark outside. My classmates, Polina, and the feeling of euphoria, all of them were gone. Somebody wrote down a nursery rhyme on the blackboard with a piece of chalk. Some of the words were wiped out and I could only read bits and pieces. 1, 2, bunny, meat. I was no longer smirking like an idiot. Stood up, pinched myself on the wrist. A ringing silence engulfed me. There was a taste of vomit in my mouth. My ears buzzed like from an endless scream, full of despair and horror. Hey, is there anybody out there? Shadows swarmed in the corridor. I walked past boarded up classrooms, past the rotten spots on the walls and silvery cobwebs. Spiders crawled under the ceiling. Lamps flickered anxiously. I like how there's just like real people photos mixed in. I'm assuming devs or maybe backers if this had a Kickstarter. I stopped before the notice board, stunned. Hundreds of new photos were added to those of Simeon and Katya. Black and white printouts were glued on top of each other. The horrific collage of childish faces stared at me with empty eye sockets. Unable to endure the torturing stares of those watchful, gaping holes, I ran out of the school. Crossed the front yard and reached the road where the wind was whipping up powdery snow. No people, no cars, no birds. Low clouds got stuck on chimneys. Windows that looked like they were painted over with ink. Photos of missing people enveloped lampposts and fences like paper skin. Mostly kids, but some adults too. It felt like all the people who once lived in this village now became black and white ghosts in the photos with the person missing label. I dragged my feet forward along the dead street. Some houses had the windows smashed. The wind made itself at home there, wandering the rooms. Every gust made the front door swing. Kids' coats hung from the fences. Their sleeves moved, stretched out toward me. An empty village, an empty husk. What happened here? An overthrown waistband rumbled across the back alley. Something flashed inside the window frames of the charred village store. I ran away from its sooty facade, then heard a guttural roar coming from the well. I started walking faster, trying not to pay any mind to the darkness inside the front yards, inside the bloody doghouses, inside the crooked shacks. The moon disappeared from under the clouds. Something flew over my head in this draining silence. As if a crop duster flew from one roof to another, a huge shadow loomed over me. I rushed to the right, hoping that I wasn't noticed. A small greenhouse in front of me was my shelter. I pushed the gate, crouched, and scampered toward the porch. I tugged at the doorknob. The front door was open. A wheelchair rolled out of the darkness, almost hitting me. Tumbled down the stairs, playing with its wheels, and stopped near an apple tree. I followed it with round eyes, then turned my gaze inside the house again. The corridor was obscured by the dark, empty frames on the wall, glass shards on the floor. Is there anybody here? I heard growling in reply. From around the corner at the end of the corridor, a furry paw appeared, and after it, a scary beast face with a pair of burning eyes. The huge, overweight beast crawled up on its belly, writhing like a snake. It could barely fit inside the corridor's mouth. It squeaked forward, clawing at the floorboards. Its maws clanging like a bear trap inches away from my face. The beast got stuck. It banged its paws on the wall, spitting saliva in every direction. I turned around. I needed to get the hell out of this nightmare. The hunchback owl, bigger than an average human, landed near the front gate and stood in my way. Its beak kept on clicking. A snow pile bulged nearby, and something reminiscent of a giant shrew crawled to the outside. I fell to my knees as if praying to these eldritch creatures. Figure draped in a dirty fox scalp crawled out of a dark hole, smiling with all its teeth. Its tail dragged after it, just a piece of vertebrae laced in torn sinews. The creatures' bodies became extremely distorted, and I decided I was going insane. They seemed small to me one moment. Small as a child, only a stretch higher than any of the desolate houses the next. Only a stretch higher than any of the desolate houses the next. Man-eating creatures towered over me. Something crept on, writhing in their stomachs as if looking for a way out. The longer they stared at me, the wider the twisted smiles their death masks became. We had such a long feast. The mutilated fox taxidermy mount licked its lips. Its tongue looked like a black centipede longer than my forearm. A nasty insect ran between the razor's sharp teeth and dropped onto the bottomless pit that could swallow the whole world. Hoot hoot, sweet meat, juicy meat. We devour it. You won't stop. There was nothing human about their speech, just animalistic growls and bird-like whizzes. But I was able to understand every word as if we were speaking the same language. It's a shame you couldn't catch up with us, Bunny. You couldn't bite the moon. Oh, you couldn't bite the moon. You stole my food, traitors. You refused to eat her family, remember? But... Hoot hoot, pathetic meat, worthless meat. You are absolutely useless, brother. You make me sick. Shame! Shame! Indescribable horror gripped me when the laughing beast held her clawed paws towards me. Then suddenly, the thing that pretended to be a fox started barking loudly. Fools, it's his time to bring the treats. Good for nothing. Hoot hoot, let him fulfill his mission. We'll be waiting for some meat from you tomorrow night, or else. Or else. Or else. Or else. Or else we'll eat your entire family. The monsters formed a circle around me and started dancing. Screamed. Huge eyes, fangs, claws flashed in front of me, blurring into a string of colorful spots and smudges. 1, 2, time to play with you. 3, 4, 5, the owl will arrive. 6 on end, the wolf's gray fur will stand. 7, 8, stomp your hooves and wait. Fox face protruded from the fuzzy lights that the beastly carcasses turned into. where the fox and the bear bunny tasty meals prepare. A desperate cry, my cry, rumbled across the street, across the back streets of the desolate village. I will prepare. The circle broke up and I ran for my life. Felt like I was running into a snare trap. My head was splitting, only ugly images danced inside it, colliding, falling over, getting up and dancing again. 1, 2. They flapped their wings, poked my face with their beaks and the salivating maws. 3, 4, 5. They howled and jumped around. My eardrums were ready to pop, either from their screams or from the internal pressure that fractured my skull from within. 6. My winter hat obscured my vision, and it seemed like the whole sky tilted, like a roof that's about to collapse. 7, 8. Snow crumbled from the sky like plaster. I ran through the empty streets, through this icy world, chased by a pack of beasts. Yet I couldn't see anything when I turned around. I shut my eyes and hopped away from the ritual dance that went on inside my flared-up mind. I squeezed my ears with my palms to suppress the noise. I just wanted to stop my head from cracking open. The sunrise found me deep inside the forest. Okay. So yeah, that is currently all of Tiny Bunny. I'm looking forward to chapter 5. Chapter 4 felt shorter than chapter 3, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. Um, but yeah, I should be streaming tomorrow. I'll still be working on my schedule, but yeah, thanks for coming out. Let me find someone to raid. I'm curious where the story's going. I have some ideas, but you know, uh, we'll find out what happens. Georgie's going. I'm gonna send y'all over to Georgie. They are playing Final Fantasy VII, the original, not the remake. They're really cool. They're a fun streamer. I've read them a few times. But yeah, you'll like them if you've never seen them before. And thanks again for coming out. I'll probably see you all tomorrow. Bye.